Good morning, everybody. Late morning, noon, whatever it is. It is 10 minutes till noon Central Standard Time. Everybody gonna take their lunch break right now, or what are we doing? Welcome on in. Hey, Butterfly. It might just be us today. Haha. We will see. What is everybody doing today? I wonder if they're trial watching. Okay. Yes, come on in, everybody. Get comfy, hit the like button, do all the YouTubey things they like us to do. And we'll get underway here in a few minutes. Oh, goodness. All these new trials being granted. It feels like new trials for everybody. Let's just hand them out. It makes you mad because knowing these trials wouldn't be granted again if they hadn't had major missteps in the beginning, right? How dangerous that can be for the outcome of trials. In the outcome of when things go bad, now they get a new trial because people acted nefariously for personal gain or whatever. I think this case may bring it to the forefront. With mass social media now and mainstream media, even, with cable TV and all the things, information goes out quickly. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. In these criminal cases, it's like, gimme, 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 right? And we want information, but we also want the people in charge of all the legislative things to act accordingly and not do things to cause mistrials. Because, especially when it comes to these juries, right? We saw a little bit of that happening over there in that Lori Vallow situation. You're buffering. Is it everybody? I don't know. I think just you and I are here. Unless something's wrong, I don't think anybody else is here. I just started, Butterfly. We haven't been on just a few minutes. Not even 2 full minutes, I don't think. So we just started. Is it buffering for you, or is it just, is it me? It appears we're doing okay on my end. What is today? It's Wednesday, the 13th. Where is everybody? Is there a, I'll be back, going to power down and come back. Yeah, do that. Check things out for me there, Butterfly. Make sure we're good to go here. You can see me, so 5 minutes or longer. That's not supposed to be a minute. There you go. Yeah, switched. Hopefully we're not having technical difficulties. I'm gonna wait for her to come back in and let me know if she can hear things okay now and if she seems to be in sync. Let's see. Okay. Okay, if there's anybody else in chat and y'all can hear everything okay and it doesn't seem to be lagging on your end, let me know in the chat. Well, there's nobody else here to let me know, so okay. Well, I'll get going. Anybody who catches this on the replay, thank you for that as well. I'm not sure who's trial watching and who's doing what. Okay. Last night, the Pima County Board of Supervisors did have their meeting. They did conclude the meeting. It did go down like I said it was supposed to go down at 7 p.m. The item 25, they finally got to that. I was watching in and out, in and out, in and out, because I didn't want to watch the whole darn thing again. Fortunately, when they got to the part with nanos, Nerdy broke and went live, and I watched that section over there on his channel. But I have, now that the whole thing is finished, we have the couple of timestamps we're going to look at. There was a meeting behind the closed doors with the city attorneys before they got to the item during the public part of the meeting. And under the guidelines of the law, the board can't remove the sheriff, right? Sheriff can come back and sue them at a later date and time. So who remember when we was reading about that yesterday in the document, and they weren't wrong. So they had to now refer the matter to the the Arizona Attorney General's office for investigation. So nothing was determined last night. Hang on, let me check with Butterfly and make sure she's back in here and is everything cool now. Okay, uh-oh, let me check this message. Hold on. All right, anybody else in the chat besides Butterfly buffering? Because she says she thinks it's just me. Hold on, I'm checking something here. She says it's still buffering. Let me check something. Hang on, Butterfly. Okay, try now. It says I wasn't connected to the internet, but I had to have been because I was live. All right, try now, Butterfly. See if I'm still buffering. Let me send her a message. Nobody can watch if we're buffering. All right, she's going to check now for me. Why did it say I was offline when That's so weird. Yeah, I'm connected now. We're up. So she says we're good now. Okay. You can see me and hear me now. It's wild, Butterfly. I didn't realize that the PC wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi, but it was pushing out the stream, but it was shitty. It was very shitty, wasn't it? Okay, sorry about that. I did not know that we were not connected, but we're good now. So you and I can get down to the business of the show. Maybe people will come and join us in a little while. I'm having coffee. We'll just get comfy, Butterfly, and we'll just chit chat. You want to come up here with me? I know you hadn't been up that long, but I don't care. You want to come talk to me? I'll send you the link. She's like, girl. And y'all know what happened? Remember when I showed y'all that little preview of my hold up, I'm gone on a coffee break thing? Do y'all know the music in that? I can't use it. I got a little email. The owner of the music doesn't mind if you use the music, but you cannot monetize your entire stream. I'm like, what? You mean I'm going to hold a whole live stream, and if I play that, I'm going to be right back, I'm gone for coffee, that dude gets the couple of bucks, and I get whatever. Changing the music on that shit. I cannot. Give you a minute? Okay, let me grab a link and send it over to you. Let me drop this link to our friend the Butterfly. We haven't heard from Butterfly in a hot minute. The hell? I'm bringing up my Discord to drop her the link, and the Discord's like, we're not coming up yet. Hold on. Oh, I think I know why it threw me offline. Everything was updating last night. Come on, Discord. What is your business here? It's updating. You getting lunch since you missed breakfast? I haven't had either yet. And I thought about it, but I wasn't hungry yet. So it'll probably be one of those days where I eat all afternoon, all evening, through the night. Why is my Discord not coming up? This is weird. Mercury's not in retrograde again, is it? Lord help us. That's when things usually go haywire. All right, I'm going to do it a different way. Ow. Why does it keep making me do this? Lord, things are not wanting to work appropriately today. Let's see. Here we go. Give me my link. That's all I'm trying to do. All right, Butterfly. It's in the mod chat. Get down, kitty. All right. I'm a little irritated with you, cat. Go over there and play with that tree I bought you. I'm trying to entice her onto the tree. I caught her paying attention to it last night, and just she noticed me, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm not interested in that thing at all. You didn't see me." And I was like, "Oh, I saw you." So I put one of her toys up there, and she's just sitting there watching me like, I mean, she's gonna get me back, and I know it. So then I put her blanket up there earlier, but I sat her food on the first tier early this morning, and she finally went over there and got a little food off of it. But she won't get up on it and have fun yet. By God, she's missing out. Like, it looks fun to me. If I was a cat, I would be on it. Leftovers are the best. I do got leftovers in there from last night, but we had pizza, so I got cold pizza left over. Looks like pork chops are on the agenda because that's what my son took out. I'm assuming he's cooking dinner tonight. I'm gonna let him. I'll be a good mom and clean up afterwards. Throw it all in the dishwasher. There you go, baby. I cleaned up for you. Thanks for cooking. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, Pima County had their meeting last night, and we're going to take a look at a couple of little timestamps there before we move on to the Alex Murdaugh of it all. We have the Supreme Court opinion as well that we will be taking a look at. Okay, so man, there's just sometimes not enough time in the day to get to all the stuff I want to cover. I found a I found an interview someone did a couple of days ago. I'm like, I've been clocking this girl for 3, 4 years, and she shows up out of the blue and gave somebody an impromptu phone interview. I was like, dang, I asked you 1,000 times to come and give me one. WSU Mom Kim coming out of the woodwork, Sullivan. Okay, let me pull up the stamps we need here. Okay, down to where's my? I feel like the Hot Mess Express coming in all of a sudden. Here we go. Okay, let's go to this timestamp first. This lady speaks. We got two people who are going to speak before the board briefly, and then they move on to item 25, where they decide they're not going to do a darn thing about the nanos because legally they can't. They don't want to get into trouble. It's always interesting to see what the people of the community have to say, though, right? They have to live there. We just know about everything. Let me get to my timestamp here. Oh, come on. Okay. So this is a lady who was speaking. Hey, Sarah, did you see my comment back to you on X earlier? That's got to be a whole show, girl. Um, and thanks for dropping that information, by the way, because I'm finding all that very interesting. The FBI of it all, and I read that document yesterday where they sent the letter over to Moscow from the FBI wanting all their take see backseat time for the FBI. I find it odd that the FBI is now sending letters to Moscow saying, hey, we just loaned you all that stuff. We need it back. Wouldn't that be the normal protocol in any investigation? Why is it different for Brian Kohberger investigation? Why are we doing all of this extra? Why? I'm so confused. I got so much to say still. Lordy. Okay, so this lady got up and spoke before the board about the sheriff. Or is this the main?
Well, good evening, members.
This is the guy who spoke. The lady, I'll have her up in a second. I pulled up the wrong timestamp.
Ever since candidates have run for public office, many have lied, cheated, and even stolen their way into office. In fact, a good number of present-day office holders across our land fall into these examples of untruthfulness and treachery. I would like to address your possible decision on whether to remove the elected sheriff from office. It is troubling to think that 3 elected individuals can unelect, remove from office someone else elected and voted into office by thousands of voters as well. I believe that if you judged to remove Sheriff Nanos from office, you would be acting against the will of the people, voters that voted for him. At its core, such action would be undemocratic, I believe. To be clear, I publicly endorsed Sheriff Nanos' opponent, Mark Napier. I was at the time a Democratic legislator. Mark is a Republican. And my God, how times have changed. So I am not an apologist nor a supporter of Sheriff Nanos. You face a wide slipstream of an issue, far more important at play here.
It's buffering again, Butterfly. I'm connected. Everything should be okay. Well, I'm gonna let it play a few minutes. Let me know if it's still doing that, okay?
Is about the democratic process and the vote of the people. In the case of treachery, dishonesty, or incompetence by elected officials, we, the public, are afforded remedies to such misbehavior. We can recall, we can vote them out of office, or we can impeach. In the sheriff's case, the former 2 options are available to us. In summary, with the anachronism of an electoral college, which strips us all of a democratic one person, one vote in our national election process, gerrymandering, which has been unleashed on steroids by both parties, I truly believe that if here 3, 4, or 5 of you were to vote to remove an elected official who may have, or not, acted dishonorably, but who has not committed a crime, you would be contributing to a most serious decline within our democratic fabric, that of our most cherished democratic values, the voice of the citizen, their vote. Such action may prove to be yet another serious blow against this already sorry collapsing house of cards our democratic process. Please, I respectfully, to each of you, I urge you, reprimand if you must, but let the people judge and decide this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was what he had to say. This lady, what she had to say. And it's like, it makes you wonder, why now? I mean, I get why now. It's all coming to the forefront, but these people have known about nanos for a long time. And if they getting up there and saying all this in front of the board is falling flat because they can't seem to be able to remove this guy from office, right, without going the legal route through the Attorney General's office. Let me pull it up, and then she was at the 104 mark. Okay. It really stinks that it took something like this happening, like to Miss Nancy, to bring all of this out and for them to decide it's time to finally do something about their weird sheriff and all the things. And then it feels like now they may be trapped with him, I don't know if omitting the truth, right? What's the law on that? What's the law on telling lies? Is that okay? Little white lies are okay? You just lied. You didn't break a law. Like, what? Okay, here's this lady. If I can get it to... No, I want this timestamp. Why does it all feel broken today? Okay, here she is. Okay, so this lady spoke as well before.
I hope today brings some resolution in the Sheriff Nanos investigation, or what you will be doing in regards to this horrific investigation we have going on with him. As a constituent and citizen of this county, I have spoken on this issue numerous times over the last 4 years, as have many citizens. I would ask you, how many IA investigations, disciplinary hearings did he sit in on and make decisions that affected deputy and CEOs' careers that have led to either termination, demotion, or them being unhireable with other agencies? Let me ask you a question, Matt. Had you lied when you became a physician, would you be subsequent to having your medical license revoked? Let me ask you, Rex Scott, when you were in charge of teachers, had they lied on their application, would they be hireable in a school district? Let me ask Sam Brown, if an attorney were to lie under oath or not act in a fiduciary way when representing a client, would he have his state bar revoked? Probably so. Jan, when you're in the financial industry and you do not act with fiduciary responsibility, are you subsequent to punitive or other actions? I would say so. Let me ask you this, Jen Allen. Do you think Mr. Urias had any social justice when he was beaten by Chris Nanos and subsequently put in a coma? I think not. You guys have a duty, not an obligation, a duty to the citizens of Pima County to make this right. You need to ask yourselves, how many people have been affected by this man? On December 11th, 2025, Nanos answered no when he was asked under oath if he had ever been suspended as a law enforcement officer. There were no mincing of words. That was a clear-cut question. Clear-cut question. Do the right thing and remove him from office.
They're like, thank you. They're like, shut her up almost. So that lady said she's been doing this for a couple years now, right? Battling the nanos of it all. During the Attorney General, I don't know how long it will take them to conduct an investigation, right? The Arizona Attorney General's office now is where it's been handed for investigation. And we're going to take a look at why. It's like when it's like when the people who run the town can't conduct the business. It's like, it's crazy. We got to go through all these hoops and legal protocols to make sure it's done right. We don't want to get people open a door for lawsuits, right? Because you just can't fire people in America for being a bad person. No. We have rights. I can be shitty all day and you can't fire me, right? Like, ugh. Well, I guess if you're Sheriff Nanos, you gotta kind of can do whatever you want. The rest of us may not be so lucky. Oh, that's right. We're not elected officials. We don't get to run amok. No, commoners, you're not allowed to run amok. That is only for elected officials. Only they get that. You should have became one. Well, I think I just might. Just to see how it works. I've often threatened that.
That is the carry over or continued unfinished business item, the report from Sheriff Nanos, and addendum item number 3.
Unfinished business. That would be the nanos of it all. Yikes. Item number 25 on the agenda.
Which is the board oversight and potential responses concerning the office of the sheriff.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
I move that the Pima County Board of Supervisors declare the office of Pima County Sheriff as vacant and begin the process to replace the current sheriff immediately.
Hearing no second, the motion fails. Supervisor Scott.
On the advice of legal counsel, I move that we take no action to declare the office of sheriff vacant, nor to move for the removal of the sheriff based on Arizona Revised Statute 11-253. Also on the advice of counsel, I move that we refer allegations of potential perjury by the sheriff to the Arizona Attorney General's office and to direct the county administrator to do so on behalf of the board, and that the board takes no position on whether or not perjury was committed.
I will second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain?
Oh,
Item passes with 4 votes with 1 abstention.
Chair Allen,
Supervisor Scott.
since we're also considering item number 25, I think that the motion that we just approved unanimously with 1 abstention speaks for itself. But my chief concern with what's been going on within the sheriff's department is that Our elected sheriff has taken no discernible efforts to repair relationships and trust within our largest department. I think the most telling example of that was the unanimous vote of the Pima County Deputies Organization declaring no confidence in his leadership. Yes, there were over 60 members of that organization who abstained, but nobody voted that they had confidence in the sheriff's leadership, and well over 250 of the members of the organization voted no confidence. That's very telling with regard to climate and feelings about the stewardship of the department by its frontline employees. Just as telling are the emails and letters board offices have received from current and former Pima County Sheriff's Department employees who have expressed no faith or trust in the sheriff's leadership. They've offered very specific examples of pettiness, favoritism, rash decision-making. To be fair, we have also heard from a number of employees who've expressed their support for the sheriff, but there really is only one person in that department who can bring all those people together. And again, it's our largest department in terms of number of employees, and that's the leader. He needs to take not just the first step, but the second step, the third step, the fourth step, the fifth step to try and bring up the level of climate within that department. You have to first admit the obvious, that there is a real crisis of confidence within the department in his leadership. Then you have to reach out both publicly and privately to both individuals and groups within the department, seeking their input and offering to engage in honest dialogue. Third, you need to offer, after those communicative efforts, you need to bring forth a plan to rebuild rapport, relationships, and trust, and ask to be held accountable for its success. Based on the advice of legal counsel, I believe, and obviously the majority of the board agrees, that we have the right to remove the sheriff, declare the office vacant. He met his obligations under the statute. But I think it's important that we make the referral to the Attorney General's office that we did. And what is most important is that the sheriff take immediate action to repair the extraordinary climate of distrust and lack of faith in his leadership. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Thank you, Supervisor Scott. Supervisor Cano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I want to acknowledge that for many people in our community, this discussion has been deeply personal and deeply concerning. I understand the genuine care that people have for the integrity of leadership within our Sheriff's Department and for the future of public safety throughout our county. And I also understand how difficult it can be to see your values reflected in a sheriff that you disagree with. I know this because I lived through it. When SB 1070 was signed into law in 2010, I was a college student in Maricopa County during the height of Sheriff Joe Arpaio's power. Just blocks from my dorm room, I watched families and immigrants living in fear, and most importantly, I watched neighbors lose faith in what public safety was supposed to mean. What I learned during that time is that the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors was not the ultimate decider of whether Sheriff Arpaio stayed in office or not. The people were, and the people acted through the democratic process by recalling Sheriff Arpaio. I use this example because it's relevant to the conversation we are having tonight. In Arizona, county sheriffs are elected directly by the people every 4 years. They are not hired by a board of supervisors, and they cannot be removed by the board in the way a city manager can appoint or dismiss a city police chief. However, over the last month, this board exercised a narrowly defined oversight tool in statute to ask questions of the sheriff. Responses were submitted, those responses were reviewed, and our legal counsel has informed us regarding the limits of this board's authority to proceed with any further action. Moving forward, what this Board of Supervisors can do is continue to listen to the concerns of residents, taxpayers, and people across this county who want a safe place to live and who want integrity and accountability from our public institutions. And while much of this discussion has centered on one individual, public safety in this county depends on far more than one person. 1,500 of our 7,000 county employees work for the Sheriff's Department. They are the public servants answering calls, responding to emergencies, conducting investigations, and serving communities across our entire county. And this is where the board can and will continue to focus, ensuring that those public safety systems remain strong, stable, and responsive to the people we serve. The board took the concerns raised before our entire community seriously, and we use the remedies within our legal authority to seek answers from an independently elected county officer. This board will continue meeting its responsibility to the people of Pima County by investing in those 1,500 men and women in the Sheriff's Department who keep this community safe every single day. That is our constitutional responsibility, and it is our obligation to the public. And that is the work that this board will continue focusing on moving forward. Thank you.
I want to thank my colleagues for your really thoughtful comments. This has been a challenging conversation. I think that the thing that I am clinging to, holding on to, is the department. And I think, as Supervisor Cano alluded to, that it is the Sheriff's Department is our largest department in Pima County. And we rely on the deputies every single day. I represent a rural district, a district that is comprised of families who live out down bumpy dirt roads.
Okay, we all got families that live down bumpy old roads. Hell, I might be one of them families. Actually, the road is not bad out here, but I've lived on those bumpy old roads before. So perjury is a given, right, Dolphin? It's obvious that has occurred. But like we just heard, under the law, the board doesn't have the legal capacity to remove him. But by God, at least they tried, right? They're hearing the people's call. But the problem is, not all the people are on board with booting the nanos. Some people still support him, but an overwhelming majority do not. And the town has got to handle its business. And I agree with that statement, Dolphin. I don't think he's going to be able to ever repair the damage, nor is he going to try, right? His arrogance is not going to allow him to come out and own one single thing he's done wrong. He didn't realize that the entire world would hold his feet to the fire and hang on his every word and hold him accountable. Remember when he said all that mess? So yeah, like I said, they continued to put this man in office. Somebody was, doing a lot of damage control on his bad behavior, or people just overlooked it. I'm not real sure what all happened there over the years, but at least the board is trying, and there are enough people, I think, now who can see the bigger picture, who may not have been, not everybody is privy to the inner workings of the Sheriff Department. They're living life. They're raising the children. They're going to work. They're going to school. They're living life, right? They catch the blurbs on the evening news, and that's the end of it. And they don't realize what all's happening behind the scenes in their own town. He ain't gonna lift a finger to try. You know what the sad part is? When he tries, he's going to fail miserably, because this guy is not a public speaker, is he? He didn't go to the same school that Doug Carter went to learn how to come out and talk to the people and use your magic hands to get your point across. Well, Nanos does kind of throw his hands up a lot like Doug Carter from Indiana State Police does. I noticed that right off the bat. He gave me such Doug Carter vibes. but different types of word salad. One's like a high dollar salad, 5-star restaurant word salad, and one is like the economy diner word salad. Okay, that little tiny salad you get on the side with a couple pieces of lettuce and a tomato and maybe a cucumber. That's the Nanos word salad. Okay, let's see if I can get Butterfly up here. See if she's still buffering. What's going on with my friend? Uh-oh. There you are. You're muted.
Yeah, I couldn't take it off of mute. What the heck? Hi,
Your
everyone.
your equipment's messing with you today.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, so we're not buffering anymore. At least we're not doing that.
No more buffering.
No.
For now, anyway.
Thank
I guess
goodness.
you'll find out if I go away.
Yeah, if Butterfly flies away, we were buffering in the beginning apparently. So yeah, I wasn't surprised by last night's. We can't call it a verdict.
No,
It wasn't
I'm
court.
just wondering why didn't they? The question I have is why didn't they consult with their attorneys in the beginning?
That would have been a good move, right? A month ago when this all started.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were honestly, what it feels like to me may have been happening at the same time. I think the board might have known their limits, right? But they heard the call of the people. And so they have to listen to them. Were they
Mm-hmm.
trying to force a resignation?
Probably.
You know what I mean? Just be easier, quieter, and neater, Nanos, if you would just resign and say, I'm stepping aside. But his ego is not going to allow that. Hey, Doug, welcome in.
I see him retaliating more. I feel bad for his officers.
Yeah, and well, the officers that don't support him, I think there's
Mm-hmm.
a handful that he put into certain positions that are
Mm-hmm.
blindly going to support no matter what.
Yep.
And
He's
some,
gonna weaponize the ones that do.
yeah,
I feel like.
and some people feel like also that at this point in the game, that it's not just Nanos to blame for this investigation going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all know turning the crime scene over back to the family quickly and all the things we know about this messy investigation. Once the
Mm-hmm.
FBI got on board, there still wasn't enough critical lost evidence that they recovered evidence, right?
Yeah.
They haven't been able to get anywhere either. We can't blame that all on Nano's bad 24-hour first 24 hours was bad, therefore that screwed the entire FBI investigation. I don't believe that. Their
Right.
FBI is supposed to be better than that, right? They can come in behind Nanos and do a cleanup and get evidence, and then they were able to get some evidence, but not enough apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's not all Nano's fault, because a lot of it is Nano's fault. We saw there was a lot of that first 2 weeks was a shit show. And the full first 2 weeks.
So are they still collecting signatures, or is that over?
I don't know. I think they're trying, but I would think that by now enough time has passed. They've probably gotten all the signatures they're going to get, but they fell short to get enough to do a recall.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope they find, because the only way to get him out now with the board is he's found criminally liable for something. So I don't know.
Well, Dolphin, he's an
It's gonna
elected
be a while.
he's elected official, Dolphin. He's held to a different standard than the rest of us out here filling out job applications. They've already made that clear. He's an elected official. He is not held to the same standards of accountability that the rest of you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, their attorney general's office can legally take action against the sheriff. Because if they don't
Right.
do it where they are covered on a legal basis, his ass can come back and sue them and win.
Yeah.
That's
That's taxpayer money.
yeah, it's insane. So hopefully they'll be able to get, somewhere with an investigation. I don't know how long they would need or take to investigate such a matter, right? All the evidence is pretty much compiled already. We went through
Or a
that.
recall.
Yeah, well, we went through that whole document yesterday. They got all the goods on the
Mhm.
nanos of it all. They know everything he ever did in his past, every lie he ever told or omitted. So they have it all. It's just I don't know by law what the Attorney General's office can and will do at this point. So we'll have to wait and
Mhm.
see. Also, we can probably look into a couple of laws there and see, how this works with trying to remove a sheriff through these methods.
Yeah, unless they're successful with the recall, but I don't know how many signatures they've received and
I know
all
they
that
fell
stuff.
short of the according to Cross, they didn't get enough signatures, which was a little surprising. But
Mhm.
when is the next election? I don't even know.
He's in office till January 1st of 2029. I just looked it up.
2029?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
Lord, they better get that
Yeah.
investigation underway. They're not gonna find any of the people missing in that town.
Mhm.
Good Lord.
Exactly.
It's
I
it's
feel
sad.
it's gonna get worse from here.
Yeah, it's horrible that it takes something happening to shine a light on these situations. Even like in Kentucky, when Steins walked in and shot Mullins in the office chambers, whoa, the can of worms that opened up, right? A lot of times it's not uncovered till a tragedy happens in the town. And that's when people start to realize, whoa, we've been in the dark all this time. It's weird.
Maybe they just need to do more digging to see if there's anything other than his lying, whatever. But as
Perjury
far as a
should be
criminal,
enough.
as far as criminal,
Yeah. Well, perjury is a criminal act. I mean, you can get into trouble for perjury, but
well, I
the
mean,
board,
besides that, like
uh,
they need to do more digging to see if they can find anything else. I'm sure he's done something else.
well, it's all there. They've got everything from El Paso now. They know every single incident ever occurred with nanos. The biggest thing is perjury. He hasn't
Right.
beat
I
it,
mean, outside of that, they haven't found anything outside of El Paso, like his current life.
like personal life stuff.
Yeah,
Not that I know
criminal.
of.
They said criminal, so.
Like, he would have to be doing something criminal, like with the money and things of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
looking into the financial crime. But they can't subpoena his financials and look at any of that. The board can't. We don't want the board to have that kind of power. They have
Right.
to go through the attorney general's office, and then they can start doing subpoenas and looking into things like financial
Mm-hmm.
crimes, taking kickbacks and things of that nature. That's a
Yep.
whole other can of worms. They're going to have to start with the perjury charges
Mm-hmm.
and hope that an investigator in the attorney general's office is willing to go as deep as they need to go. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
They still have to go by law, and that goes back to vote for what's going down in your community legislature wise on
Mm-hmm.
the checks and balances of how these people are put into office and then how they are removed when they behave badly. That has to be looked at. Like I kept saying it in Indiana with Judge Gull. When is
Yeah.
somebody going to step in and stop her? Because it seemed
Mm-hmm.
like she had all the power she needed to do whatever she wanted, and nobody could stop her. It feels like that was what the sheriff's been doing, and they
Yeah,
need
well, we have
that.
our own DA here that's just as bad. I mean,
Right.
nothing's being done.
It happens across the country, and then when it
Mm-hmm.
gets highlighted, people should take a look at the bigger picture of it all,
Yep.
and not settle for, oh, they're just elected officials, not a whole lot we can do until a 3-year investigation has been conducted and thousands of dollars and terabytes of discovery because of all these emails and paperwork that we had to gather, right? It's a crazy thing out
Mm-hmm.
there.
And that's the thing. People have tried here and unsuccessful. I mean, I don't know what it's gonna take here to like get him people he was voted for as well. So I don't know.
They specifically named a
It's very
number that
frustrating.
it is frustrating. They had a number on the petition, Dolphin. It was over 100,000. Was it 160 or something like that they needed, but they have fallen short so far of the number they needed. I haven't checked in a couple of weeks on it, honestly.
I think he talked about it when he was on with Brian, but
Oh yeah,
I
they
don't know where in the interview it's at. So
hang on. Because we've covered it here already.
well, as far as recently.
I haven't checked it recently to see. Um, hang on. Oh, what did that do that for? That's crazy. Okay, the goal and the deadline. The campaign must collect roughly 122,000 plus signatures by July 10th of 2026 in order to move forward. Reasons for the recall. Supporters cite the handling of the Nancy Guthrie investigation, claiming the crime scene was managed poorly. Information on volunteering and signing the petition can be found at the websites or at the organizer's website, recallnanos.org, and via a change.org petition. So I don't know how many signatures are on there yet. Let me see.
Well, they still have time, but
Yeah, but
are people wanting to put themselves out there? Because once they sign,
I
he'll
would.
be able to see. Yeah, I would too, but
You
some
let him
people
do it.
don't.
Let him do it. Let it go sign up and then let him retaliate. Then you got him. People need to
Yep.
quit being chickens and scared of a man with a badge. They
Yep.
need to stop. You're adults. Stop being scared.
Yeah.
We got to stop.
Maybe now that they weren't able to remove him, maybe
Right,
more people will
scary
stand up and do something. I don't know.
Well, adults should always stand up and do the right thing. We're
Mhm.
too busy over here playing in the weeds and messing around in mud puddles and shit.
Yeah.
I can't-
Oh man.
Hang on. I need fresh coffee. Organizers have reported having roughly 600 paper signatures. That's it.
Wow.
The group had surpassed 1,000 signatures in April of 2026, though. Okay. Many signatures are frequently disqualified during the verification process. Oh, good God, I'm so sick of that. We can't
Mhm.
even take votes in America or write down yay or nay on a piece of fucking paper anymore without there being. I apologize to our forefathers. Y'all knew it. They knew humans were going to be a hot mess in the future. They're going to be some messy Marvins. They are not going to know how to act.
Right?
Jesus. I cannot with the not knowing. Like, why do grown-ups not know how to act properly?
And we expect the children to act
And that's
right.
it. I got so sick of tired of seeing all over the internet. What's wrong with today's youth? Well, fucking look in the mirror. God dang.
Yep.
That's a no-brainer. Look in the mirror, honey.
No worse than social media than the kids are
While you're
most of the
filming that
time.
video of yourself and all your 10 pounds of makeup twerking and you want to know why your 2-year-old's twerking suddenly, look in the mirror. Look at your TikToks, mommy. Anyway, I digress.
Or you're
Uh,
harassing people at a restaurant because you want to make videos and bother people.
160 in 60 days is what Doug thought he recalled. Well, they have the recall petition out there. It's been out there for a while. So we just read through some of the stuff there. Like I said, they don't have all the signatures they need. If they had already had them all, we would be seeing some action. But they haven't gotten all the signatures required. Maybe they should do local campaigns about that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I haven't watched any of their local news to see what they're doing. Their business, they need to handle it. I can't go fix it for them. All I can do is
Right.
recommend it. I watched your damn board of commissioner meetings 3 months in a row. I know how I would vote on the things going on in that town. People need to get down there and pay attention. Pay
But
attention.
boy, that doctor sure was quiet. And he's been outspoken every meeting.
their hands are tied.
Notice. Yeah.
Well, their hands are tied. They're frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
We did
Yep.
all we could do. We listened to the people. They've got the recall. We've done all we can do, and now our hands are
Mm-hmm.
tied by legal shit.
Yep.
I'm sure they're completely frustrated now. That what all they can do now is turn it over to
And
the
hope something happens, but
yeah.
you
Let
know
the
how
turn.
that stuff goes.
Well, it depends. I don't know much about the Attorney General's office in Arizona or the legalities of this type of situation, trying to get a sheriff. There's a whole lot that goes into it. Our common
Mm-hmm.
sense and our feels aren't going to get the job done. We can feel away all day long and twice on Sunday, but if the law
Yep.
says otherwise, it just says otherwise. Then go fix
Mm-hmm.
it. That's when you step in and you go fix it.
Yep.
Hey, Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
Okay, so now on to Alex Murdaugh. Oh boy, oh boy. I was
You know,
gonna
that's one case I never followed closely.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
Mm-mm.
and I'll watch that whole stinking trial. I'm gonna have to watch it again, apparently. Y'all
Well, I'll get
entertained,
to watch it this time. So,
entertained by Alex. I wonder if he'll take the stand again this time and try to cry his way out of it. Oh boy. If y'all did not watch that trial, it was almost entertaining because you got those Southern draws into play as well, right? And
hmm
I'm Southern, so I'm not throwing shade. I'm just being honest. You got those Southern draws in the courtroom. You got that. It was a wild trial, right?
yeah.
Um, and then there was a lot going down behind the scenes with that trial. Um, Alex Murdaugh had a lot of pull in South Carolina. He wasn't. He was very well known in South Carolina. The rest of us didn't have a clue who the guy was, right?
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, they all knew in South Carolina. And so there was a lot, and going all the way back to the boating accident with his son Paul, where Mallory was killed. Um, I've dove all of the stuff in this, the Stephen Smith of it all, if there's any connection with the boys. I mean, there's a lot with this case. So Becky Hill, though, was the clerk of court during the trial. And Miss Hill ran amok behind the scenes doing whatever she felt like doing. Um, she was also trying to write a book, right? So she did things like use her behind the scenes influence to orchestrate a guilty verdict by saying things to the jurors like, don't be fooled by the defense attorneys. The clerk of court has no business saying
Right.
anything to the jurors,
Mm-hmm.
not anything. Um, so telling jurors not to be fooled by the defense team. There were private conversations they uncovered about that she was having about getting jurors that she didn't care for removed. She accessed the sealed crime scene photos and shared them after entering an evidence locker after hours. She's lied under oath during a hearing on the matter. All of that is fine.
Messy.
Very messy. Miss Hill was wanting to write that book and wanting to promote her book, and a guilty verdict would have really beefed up her sales. But honey, I don't think you needed to tamper with the jury to get that guilty verdict, right? You
Mm-hmm.
just didn't need to. We have got a jury issue with Letitia Stalk, and guess what? She has a new trial.
Yeah.
Now Alex Murdaugh has a new trial. Jury tampering.
Jesus.
I know it's now all the money that
No
has
wonder people are accepting pleas.
well, I
Makes you
I don't
wonder.
care what society is trying to feed me. I'm not going to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I would never accept a plea deal if I was not
Well, I
guilty.
mean, like offering pleas and, because of
Well,
this.
if
That's
you're
what
guilty,
I'm
you're
saying.
gonna
It's
no.
kind
I
of
mean, if
people acting.
people take plea deals because they're fucking guilty, and they're gonna shave a few years off their sentence or get something removed. That's why they take plea deals. They know they're guilty of sin.
I
We
meant
know.
prosecution offering, not accepting is what I meant.
Well, yeah, because I
Because
get
the
I know what
messiness.
you
Yeah.
meant. Well, prosecutors will offer plea deals sometimes to try to get them to talk, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot that goes into it. No, we shouldn't have to be taking plea deals to avoid jury tampering. Again, I'm
Right.
not going to accept all this bullshit.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it. Everybody wants to sit back and accept it. That's fine. It's not acceptable. It's just not. None of this was. People thought that Murdoch's team was just blowing smoke, right? They were
Mhm.
looking for anything to throw at the wall, basically. And turns out, no, they were right about a lot of things with Miss Hill. And that's a problem because we
Mhm.
can't have jurors being affected when they're sitting on a trial. We need unbiased, open-minded, critical thinking people, not the ones who follow shit. It
Uh-oh,
dropped.
you're back.
Yeah, it did. It dropped me for a moment and then brought me back. That was weird.
It
Um,
wasn't me, I promise.
so we just, I don't know, we can't have all that.
Yeah.
We can't accept it anymore and say, well, damn it, they're just not going to accept my reasons if I got into trouble today and I tried to talk my way out of it or give my reasons, unless I'm in Kentucky and I got the emotional disturbance thing I can run with for the moment. But no, we got to stop accepting things and making excuses and doing things, because now here we are with two high profile defendants granted new trials.
Mhm. Oh, she
There,
left again. There you are.
no, it's
You're
dropping.
back.
It's dropping me in and out for some reason.
Mhm.
Our signal must not be as great as it should be. Hang on. It says I'm connected. Okay. Let me pull up this piece real quick and let it play.
Okay.
Well, we'll see if it'll play. We'll see.
If not, I can drop. It's not a problem.
Okay, this is from, let me see, 11 months ago, okay, when this aired. It's a little clip from Good Morning America because it has information in there. Okay.
Major development in the Alec Murdaugh saga. The former South Carolina County Clerk has been charged with misconduct related to her role in Murdaugh's double murder trial. Our Eva Pilgrim is here with more on this story. Good morning again, Eva.
Good morning again, Michael. She was a fixture in the courtroom through that lengthy 6-week double murder trial. Now that former clerk is facing multiple charges in 2 different counties, all tied to her behavior in this case.
This morning, a major new twist in the Alec Murdaugh case. The county clerk who read off that guilty verdict when Murdaugh was convicted of murdering his wife and son.
Guilty, guilty, guilty.
Now facing her own charges. Becky Hill accused of taking photos during the trial of sealed crime scene images and sharing them.
Do you understand the charges and penalty? Yes, Your Honor.
Hill, who was praised for her work on the case,
I call her Becky Booth, that's her nickname,
went on to write a book and participate in a Netflix docuseries after the trial.
I had a feeling from our time together with the jury out at Moselle that it was not going to take our jury long to make the decision.
But beyond allegedly sharing sensitive evidence, she's also accused of lying to a judge about it, potential perjury, when questioned during a hearing for Murdaugh's appeal.
I do.
Murdaugh's team hopeful these new charges help their case.
I think bodes well for our appeal because the state believes that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt she lied in the proceeding before Judge Toll. If she lied about that, the question would be, what else did she lie about?
His legal team saying they don't believe he got a fair trial.
Now, Alec, of course, has denied killing his wife and son. He's entitled to a fair trial, not one influenced by outside forces, but one in which evidence is presented and a jury bases their verdict on that evidence, not on something extraneous.
Murdaugh continuing to appeal his murder conviction and push for a new trial.
When it comes to seeing whether or not Becky Hill's allegations will affect Alec Murdaugh's case or new retrial or whatever it may be, it's not a matter of what level those charges are, but to what amount and what degree her actions might have affected Alec Murdaugh from not having a fair and impartial trial.
And to be clear here, no matter what happens with this appeal on the murder charges, Murdaugh will not be getting out of jail. He will remain behind bars for those financial crimes, which he already pleaded guilty to.
You've got to keep that in
Yes.
mind. All right, Eva. As always, thank you.
Yes, so there was other charges besides the murder that he was convicted on, and then the financial crimes are separate.
Damn it, Becky.
I know.
When she was holding that Bible when she was swearing him in, I was like, is that Bible gonna burst into flames under her hands?
There's a
Lying.
lot of Bibles that would probably burst into flames. That one time, is that a Bible, sir? Is that your Bible, sir? It's a Bible. No,
Yeah.
it's not mine. It's a Bible. I'm like that. I'll never forget that day on the TV when I saw that hip mess. That was a few years ago. Really turned me off. I can't with all that. So they
Mhm.
fill out these court documents and we pray to the court. Like, no, Jesus is not in the courtroom.
Yeah.
We pray to the judge. Okay. So that was a little bit about what was going on and how she lied during the hearing when they were holding the hearings for the new trial. So we have the document, the Supreme Court's opinion, and we're going to take a look at that. Let me get.
Did you watch her documentary?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it. I've watched the Netflix documentary. I've watched the stuff on Hulu.
I haven't watched it.
Peacock
I need
has.
to watch it.
Oh, they got the good one is over on, was it Peacock or Hulu, guys, that did the series where what's her name played Maggie. Shit. Hold on. What's it called? Was it on Netflix or Hulu, wasn't it?
I don't know. 'Cause I haven't watched any of them.
It was really good. It's this one that just aired recently.
I'll have to go look that up then.
I can't remember. Let's see. Even the freaking name of it.
Hey, Keith.
Oh, Murdaugh House of something, wasn't it? Oh, okay. The Hulu series is Murdaugh, Death in the Family, The Man in the Glass. It's season 1. It's got 8 episodes total. Now, of course, it was really good, and it was pretty well in line with everything that went down. It covers all the way back to the boating accident. And if y'all aren't aware, that's kind of what triggered a lot of things. His son Paul was involved in a boating accident that killed Mallory Beach.
I heard about that.
That's yeah. You have to go back to there
Mm-hmm.
to realize the fall of the Murdaughs, right? You have to go back that far. So, it's a good series. Again, that's over on Hulu for those of y'all who are interested in watching that. And I'll plan to do a show. We'll put together all the stuff that went down with the trial and the case, and to get ready for the new trial, I guess.
Cool. I'll watch this one.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it was on Hulu, Kelly. So have you seen it? Yeah, I watched the trial too. It was wild. Did you watch it too? Patricia Arquette, that's her name. I knew it was one of them Arquettes. She did a good job in that show.
I'm gonna go save it to my list so I can watch it.
Yeah, it's a good one, and you can binge it. You know what I'm saying? It's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay. Now let me pull up what I need to pull up to read this document. I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick and go grab a drink. Let's see. Get this pulled up. Oh, my cat is nosing around the new cat tree. I can't say it real loud. She'll hear me and stop. She's looking up at it like I want to jump up there so bad, but
Mm-hmm.
just won't.
I'm gonna wait till Salty turns around and then I'll jump on it. What she's
She gon-
saying.
she gonna do that shit when I'm asleep. I'm gonna put
Mm,
something on there tonight where I can tell if she got up there. Like, yeah, but
mm.
don't play sneak cat. You don't know me like that. Sneaky me, I'll sneaky you. I will set you up. I'll
She
put me a
probably
camera in here.
perches up there and watches you all night. She's
Probably does.
keeping watch over you, security.
I have woke up and had this cat like sitting across the room just staring at me. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? It's kind of weird and eerie, but are you like
Yeah.
protecting me in my sleep from the weird entities that are flying around my room?
Yep.
Hey, that's what cats will do. They'll fight off those negative entities.
Mm-hmm.
You find your cat sitting in the corner of your room staring up, like you need to light some smudge real quick and get rid of that bean.
Right.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, I'm gonna be right back. I'll leave you up here for a second if you don't mind, and I'm
Okay.
gonna go grab a drink and use the bathroom. Be right back.
All right.
Oh wait,
So how?
should I have said comfort break instead?
You're
If you
good.
if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Hey Keith, welcome in. I have to find the book my girl read on Murdaugh. She said it blew her mind. Oh yeah, let us know. She never gets that impressed with crime nonfiction books easily. Ooh, yeah, let us know. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Let us know the name of that book. Hey, real happy. Was it a bunch of excuses? I'm sure. I didn't follow that trial, but still, the audacity to come out and say something. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Kelly, I think everyone's saying, damn it, Becky. Everyone's mad at Becky right now.
Okay, sorry. I realized there was a truck in my yard and I had to go be nosy. It's the yard dude.
You peek through the window.
Well, my blinds are open because it's a beautiful sunny day in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, it's not raining, but my window is open. My kitty cat is sitting there enjoying it, but I'm gonna have to shut it when he goes to cut the grass. I didn't do that last time he came. And oh man, he rode by and just, all this shit went into my window.
Oh no.
I was like, man,
Be sneezing the rest of the day.
I just like my window open. Why y'all gotta come mess with me?
Yeah. Right.
But it's always nice to have the yard freshly cut.
Yeah.
Ours grows like crazy.
Yeah, we have a small yard, but it grows fast, and it's like every time I say I'm gonna go cut the yard, my husband's like, "Oh no, you're not." And I'm like, "Go to work. I'll do it when you're at work." So he makes sure he does it on the weekend before he leaves for it because he knows
I
I'll
never
end up
mind
doing it.
cutting the grass and
Me either.
doing yard work. Like, my husband had bad allergies. Like, stay your ass in the house then. Fine. I'd rather go outside. I'd rather
I'm the
you.
one with the allergies, but I'll still do it just because I hated seeing it long.
Well, I mean, even a lot of folks have allergies. You still got to get out and do your business. You can't just
Mhm.
let your yard grow up like a madman because you don't want to go out there. You got to
Yeah.
take a pill, man, and go cut the grass.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
all we can do. Put on one of those little weird masks and the hats and do all the things. And
Imagine cutting your yard in a freaking hazmat suit.
I've seen people do it.
I'd
Well,
faint.
pretty
I'd fall.
much. You know what I mean? Be in Florida and you got those people out there with the full on sleeves and the headgear.
Yeah.
That just makes me look like it looks like it would make me sweat like more. I don't know. I've never done all that. And
Mm-mm.
maybe I should have, but I'm in Florida. I'm just like, no, take it all off. It's hot.
Right.
So, state of South Carolina in the Supreme Court, the state respondent versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, Colton County. They heard it on February 11th. It was filed May 13th. Reverse and remanded. Richard A. Harpootlian, which is the attorney. They all had names for him. You know how we adults do in true crime. We make up names for all these people, Mr. Poot. All right, so Poot and team they see, y'all can't let me be an adult. I can't.
I'm laughing because my daughter calls my dog Poot, come here.
Stop it, man. All right, act our
That's
age.
what caught my eye. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. So Putin team has got a big win. All right. He tried to do that podcast with Sarah for a while. I could never take Poot seriously once everybody gave him that name. And
Yeah.
I'm a nickname maker too, but I could have come up with something better. That was kind of an obvious one. Just take part of
Yeah.
his name, and I don't know. No, we're gonna give him a new nickname in the new trial. All right. Oh, hold on. I gotta shut the window. There goes the damn lawnmower. Hold on. He does have a badass lawnmower, though. He
One
gets
of
it
those right standing ones.
Yeah, he stands on his. He stands on the back of his. I watched him last
Adorable.
time. Just like I hope he didn't fall off, and I would have had to laugh. Like last night, we were outside, and it had been raining for days, and under the pole barn was pretty wet and all the things. And my grandson, I was watching him. I was on the deck, and he was out there, and he was going to jump over a mud puddle. And he
Mhm.
looked back at me to see if I was watching him, and I was laughing, I'm smiling. I said, "Go ahead." I said, "Now when you slip and fall on the other side, you know I'm gonna laugh." And, he's like, "I know." I said, "You know I'm gonna come check on you." He said, "I know, but you'll be laughing all the way over here." He's like, "I'm not gonna do it." I'm like, "Good decision, young man."
Funny.
Okay. per curiam. For 6 weeks in early 2023, the eyes of the nation focused on Colton County, where the state prosecuted notorious former attorney Richard Alexander Murdaugh for the murders of his wife Maggie and son Paul. Both the state and Murdaugh's defense skillfully presented their cases to the jury as the trial court deftly presided over this complicated and high-profile matter. However, their efforts were in vain because Colton County Clerk of Court Rebecca Hill placed her fingers on the scale of justice. Oh, damn. That's nice writing right there. Therefore, denying Murdaugh his right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. Our justice system provides, indeed, demands that every person is entitled to a fair trial, which includes an impartial jury untainted by external forces bent on influencing the jury toward a biased verdict. Although we are aware of the time, money, and effort expended for this lengthy trial, we have no choice but to reverse the denial of Murdaugh's motion for a new trial due to Hill's improper external influences on the jury and remand for a new trial. Because we order a new trial on this basis, it is not necessary that we review every evidentiary issue Murdaugh raises on appeal from his conviction. However, we address the admissibility of Murdaugh's financial crimes to offer guidance on his thorny issue to the trial court on remand. We address the admissibility of the financial crimes. Oh, dang. Factual and procedural background. On March 2nd, 2023, Murdaugh was convicted of the murders of his wife, Margaret Murdaugh, and his son, Paul Murdaugh, as well as 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. The trial, which was held under Judge Newman, sentenced him to life in prison. While his direct appeal of these convictions was pending at the Court of Appeals, Murdaugh filed a motion to hold the appeal in abeyance to allow him to file a motion for a new trial. The Court of Appeals granted this motion. On October 27, 2023, Murdaugh moved for a new trial, asserting Hill tampered with the jury by advising it not to believe Murdaugh's testimony and other defense evidence, pressuring it to reach a quick guilty verdict, and misrepresenting information to the trial court in an attempt to have the court remove a juror she believed to favor the defense. He attached affidavits from several jurors to support his motion. Chief Justice Beatty appointed former Chief Justice Toll, post-trial court, to preside over this motion, as the trial court judge had recused himself. The post-trial court conducted the hearing of this motion on January 26th and 29th of 2024. During the hearing, the post-trial court asked each juror if the guilty verdict was accurate statement about their verdict at the time, whether their verdict was based entirely on testimony, evidence, and law presented in the case, whether they heard Hill make any comment about the case before the verdict, and whether their verdict was influenced in any way by communications by Hill. Juror X, who testified on the first day of the hearing, acknowledged hearing Hill say, before Murdaugh's testimony, "Looks like the defendant is going to testify. This is an important day," or "This is an epic day," and that it was rare for a defendant to testify. Juror X said these statements did not impact their verdict. Juror Z was submitted one of the affidavits Murdaugh attached to his motion for a new trial, was the first juror to testify on the second hearing date. When asked whether she heard Hill make any comments about the case, Juror Z responded that Hill said to watch his actions and watch him closely. Juror Z added that Hill said more, she could not remember anything else. Juror Z explained Hill's statements influenced her finding Murdaugh guilty because, to me, it felt like she made it seem like he was already guilty. At the state's request, the post-trial court questioned Juror Z about her affidavit, addressing each paragraph in turn. Juror Z's affidavit gave a more detailed recitation of Hill's comments. Toward the end of the trial, after the President's Day break, but before Mr. Murdaugh testified, the Clerk of Court, Rebecca Hill, told the jury not to be fooled by the evidence presented by Mr. Murdaugh's attorneys, which I understood to mean that Mr. Murdaugh would lie when he testifies. She also instructed the jury to watch him closely immediately before he testified, including look at his actions, look at his movements. Lord, with the damn body language expert, clerk of court of it all. Now all the jurors are body language experts as well. I cannot.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Body language stuff. I will do stuff on purpose to trip up the language experts. I promise you, if I ever got into trouble and became your next high profile case, let them profile me because I'm going to fuck with their heads. Okay. It's going to be fun. I got to write whole new books on me. All based on me playing with them.
Right.
And then I can write my book on how I played them. All right. Oh, goodness gracious. Felt pressured. Jersey testified that when the jury began deliberations, Hill told the jury, "This shouldn't take us long." In addition to y'all don't go discuss it, just come back with a verdict. In addition to referencing Hill's statements, Juror Z averred in her affidavit, "I had questions about Mr. Murdaugh's guilt, but voted guilty because I felt pressured by other jurors." Boy, that peer pressure will get you every time, won't it? Crowd goes left. I'm going right because y'all are all going to be fooled in about 5, 4, 3, 2. I told you. Anyway, after reviewing the affidavit, the post-trial court questioned Juror Z. "I asked you previously, was your verdict on March 2nd, 2023 influenced in any way by the communications from Becky Hill, the clerk of court?" You answered the question yes. "In light of what you said in the affidavit, which is, I had questions about Mr. Murdaugh's guilt, but voted guilty because I felt pressured by other jurors, is that answer that I just read more accurate statement of how you felt?" Juror Z, then can you imagine being in the juror room and like a lot of people just want to go home and they want you to cast your vote, right? And you're like, but I got questions. I want to go over this evidence again or that evidence again or work through this. And then you're feeling the pressure. They're all like, nope, we got our verdict. We all want to go home. Like, y'all aren't going to like me in just a second, but we're not finished discussing this. By God, order dinner.
Yep.
Eat while you talk. It may not digest very well, but you can go home and get it over with later. We got business to attend to. Unbiased business. Jersey answered affirmatively. The post-trial court then asked if she stood by the affidavit, and she answered yes. Jersey subsequently submitted an affidavit to clarify her testimony, in which she explained she felt influenced to find Murdaugh guilty by Hill's remarks before she entered the jury room, and once deliberations began, she felt additional pressure from other jurors to reach a guilty verdict. Although the post-trial court did not admit this affidavit, it accepted it as proffer. Thus, the affidavit is part of the record. Juror P testified that on the day Murdaugh was to take the stand, Hill made a comment as to watch his body language. Fucking should have watched yours a little more, Missy.
Right.
He denied Hill's comments influenced him in any way. The remaining jurors testified that they did not hear Hill. God, that's loud. He's like right by the house. Hill denied his comments influenced him in any way. The remaining jurors testified they did not hear Hill make any comments about the case, or they were not influenced by any comments that Hill made. Following the jurors' testimony, the state called Hill as a witness. Although Hill denied making most of the comments the jurors related, she admitted that on the day Murdaugh testified, within earshot of some jurors, she spoke to the bailiff about Murdaugh's decision to testify. She also stated that she gave jurors a little talk instructing them to pay attention and that the day was a big day. She denied attempting to influence the juror. Is that her job, is to give them little talks? Here's your little pep talk. Watch the body language. Don't trust them. Ignore
I
those.
guess
Go ahead.
I guess no one was watching her body language, I guess.
As I'm saying, no. They're too busy watching the body language of the guy on the stand, as if they're
Yep.
all. Let me.
Experts.
I want to put all y'all on panel. Let me evaluate your body language while we're talking. I mean, so one of the most unfounded scientific balls of bullshit I've ever seen. There is a little bit of something to it, right? But it's obvious when someone becomes uncomfortable in a conversation and they start, doing the shifting or the move. I don't need an expert to point that out to me. If I do, I'm extremely naive to the ways of the world and need to just stay at home and keep my little naive self safe at the house, right? I don't need an expert to point out when someone becomes uncomfortable and is possibly not being truthful. But I get a lot of people do need to be told everything. It all needs to be pointed out to some people. I can't with the jury, the body language people. They just bother me so bad. I think it's junk science. And if I was a defense attorney, you would never come at my client with your bizarre stuff. Go away with your
Everyone's
bizarre
norm is
scientific
different, and people react differently to things. So unless you know that person
gotta have a
normal on a
baseline
normal
to work.
day, you're not gonna know what's not.
Yeah, you got to have a baseline to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You don't study the person a little bit and get a baseline. Any study is like that with a person. You got to get their baseline. What is normal for this person? And then when we don't know these people to know their normals, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's something to some of it, but that great detail, every fucking little move is now, no, that's junk
Yeah.
science. And
Yep.
they're retrofitting it because the masses are eating it up. But that's whatever. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't watch them. I know it's junk science. And I find it a little insulting for you to point out to me that they just got uncomfortable. Well, fuck, is that what that was? Dang, I'm glad you pointed it out. I thought it was excited. I thought they got excited about something. Damn. Okay. How did I make it through life without you? Let me pull out my pocket language expert.
Right.
Hold on. What is it? Please translate. Okay. In discussing her book, Behind the Doors of Justice, The Murdaugh Murders, Hill claimed literary license to explain some of the more dramatic passages. People are just making up stuff now. Wow. Right. TC Keith. No one's ever going to recognize a gate on CCTV, are they? Can we stop trying to trick society with that bullshit? Here, everybody, watch this latest surveillance video. You will recognize that gate. The gate's never solved the crime.
And they've only taken 2 or 3 steps.
Right. It could or could not be on a loop. Yeah.
With the glitch.
With a glitch. It's like what we thought was a gate was really a glitch.
What we thought was a pep in their step was the glitch.
Nanos is out there raiding people based on a fucking glitch. Lord. Okay. God dang it. She's got a literary license, kind of like those Timu media licenses.
Oh, Lord.
She denied wanting a guilty verdict because it would sell more books. Huh. Kind of like that plea that happened. We got to do switch this around now to sell our books. He had a plea. Broken plea. You see how that works?
Yeah.
She denied wanting a guilty verdict because it would sell more books, claiming the outcome of the trial did not matter to her. but she acknowledged as a true passage in. Okay, then it goes some footnotes here. One, following Z's testimony, the post-trial court informed the parties that other jurors were waiting for their turn to testify, had tuned into the proceeding on court TV. What? Following juror Z's testimony, the post-trial court informed the parties that the other jurors who were waiting for their turn to testify, during the investigation part here, had tuned into the proceeding on court TV. Ooh, the jurors either denied viewing the proceeding or, if they saw it, asserted it would not influence their testimony. They shouldn't have been watching it on court TV.
Right.
They shouldn't have. As her books, you can't even be in the court. Lord, experts can't be in the courts testifying. They have to stay out when other testimony is happening, things of that nature. Here, it's the same type of thing, and they shouldn't be watching it. As her book title suggests, it turns out Hill was quite busy behind the doors of justice, thwarting the integrity of the justice system she was sworn to protect and uphold. The book was pulled from publication because Hill plagiarized portions of it, which she stated she believed Murdaugh was guilty but was concerned he would be acquitted because of his family's goodwill in the community. The post-trial court also questioned Hill about favors she granted the media. Hill denied allowing the press to view the exhibits, including the sealed exhibits. However, she subsequently pled guilty to perjury stemming from this denial. Although the post-trial court limited discussion for juror 785, whom the trial court dismissed on the day deliberations began for allegedly discussing the case with third parties, it allowed Murdaugh to question Hill about bringing to the trial court's attention social media posts that Hill mistakenly believed were from juror 785's ex-husband. I remember some of this about this stuff. Hill claimed that the juror was very talkative while Hill walked her to the court's chambers and volunteered that there were restraining orders on her husband when they divorced. In response to the post-trial court's questioning, Hill continued to deny initiating or engaging the juror in discussions in these matters. In contrast to Hill's testimony, sounds like Becky was a busy beaver. Like she was like the town gossip, right? Like
Becky did too damn much. Busybody. Becky busybody.
Becky. She was like, I'm going to call Jeannie and Janie and Jimmy and tell them all about it at the end of the day. Did y'all hear about this? Okay. Becky know everybody's business.
Mm-hmm.
In contrast to Hill's testimony, juror 785 averred at the hearing before the trial court and in an affidavit Murdaugh attached to his motion for a new trial that Hill interrogated her about the social media post and whether she had been in contact with her ex-husband. What is Becky doing running around to everybody's social medias looking at their post and then interrogating them about it? Like, bitch, stay off my, lady, stay off my Facebook.
Mind your own damn business, lady.
Just a juror. What me and my husband got going on, did I tag you? Attention, Miss Becky Hill. That was for me and my peeps to see, Miss Becky. Get out my Facebook.
Block.
I'm venting about my ex-husband. Mind your business, ma'am.
Block the Beckys.
In the affidavit, juror 785 related that Hill, knowing the juror's fears about her ex-husband, informed her that law enforcement officers questioned the ex-husband about the post. What has that got to do with Alex Murdaugh's trial, Becky? Offered to reinstate restraining orders juror 785 had against him and speculated that the Murdaughs probably got to the ex-husband. What? The fuck?
That's crazy.
The Murdaughs.
Becky has too much damn time on her hands. Shit.
Damn, Becky, she like, where were you on the night that this all went down in the Murdaugh Moselle of it all, ma'am? What's going on between you and Alex that we didn't know about? See how that happens, Becky? Look at that, Becky. That's called speculation. I done got you having an affair with the Alex.
Makes you wonder. I can't see that this is the first time she's done something like this. It just happens to be a big, you know, trial.
that it came out in, that she's how many other
Mhm.
trials has she said, "Come here, jury,
Exactly.
we got to have a little talk, jurors."
Mhm.
Becky was in everyone's business, it sounds like, right, Kelly? She does.
We need to look up Becky's history.
Let's get into Becky's
Like
business.
exactly.
The business of Becky. Okay, Becky, you
We'll
don't
write a book and everything.
we'll make bank,
Netflix special.
and then we'll go
Go.
live down by the river and retire and say, "Ha ha, Becky Hill." Then we'll be like, "We're bored. Let's hold a podcast about Becky Hill." Okay.
Right.
Living by the river is fun but boring sometimes. Well, actually, I don't think I'd ever get bored. I'm that person. I don't. As long as I can go
Yeah,
live.
I don't get bored enough to be nosy and doing all that she's been doing.
Oh, I nose around at other folks' business, but not like that. A true crime
That's what
business.
I mean. Yeah.
We do our sleuthing.
That's
I don't.
different.
But people do always want to nose up in jurors' business with every trial, especially if they feel like they're not going to vote the way they feel they should vote. Then it's like, now let's destroy the jurors.
Mhm.
We have to kind of get away from that. If they want to come out and speak and be interviewed, that's fine. Let them tell what they need to tell, but don't attack because they voted differently than the way you feel.
Yep.
We're not going to have fair trials in America going forward if we let that become normal, because we don't like the way the jury voted. Now we are going to dox and attack each and every one of them, and we'll show them.
It's become way too common. That's the problem.
It is becoming too common. Hence 10 years to get a trial underway, according to Ann Taylor, in a big survey she wanted to conduct for jurors. We should be a little concerned about how things go down, especially where jurors are concerned.
Yeah.
You don't want to not want to be a juror because you're afraid of what may happen if you become the juror, right?
Yeah.
You don't know if you're about to go sit on a high profile case or not.
Mhm.
If you're tuned into what's going around your community, you may kind of be aware, but you don't know how these things will play out in the big scheme of things. So
Yeah.
you just don't ever know when you're going to be on the receiving end of some of this bullshit. So there we are, all up in juror's business with her husband now. 785 asserted Hill asked her whether she and the other jurors were inclined to vote guilty or not, and told her that everything Murdaugh said has been lies. She also stated that before Murdaugh testified, Hill told the jurors not to be fooled by the evidence presented by the attorneys.
So why didn't these jurors report her?
Right. Why
That's
wasn't
also their duty.
You're right about that. So why weren't they doing that during this? Are they naive to the point where because they get jury instructions, right?
Mhm.
How many times in the Karen Reed trial do we have to hear those every morning and every evening? Those jurors were instructed of what not to do and to do. But you would think that at some point they would have been like, this is not the way this is supposed to be going down. She shouldn't be saying these things to us,
Yep.
and should have reported her. Yeah, they let it go because of what their own because they were naive themselves, or they were afraid to. I don't know why they wouldn't report it.
Yeah, especially if that was part of their instructions. That I mean, if you're not allowed to talk to anyone else, why would you be allowed to talk to the clerk? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
why is she allowed to even address them other than
Mhm.
y'all need more water? Everybody,
Right.
your food is here, right? Time to go to the juror box, time to go to the deliberation room. That's what the end of it. The bailiff is,
No opinions, no nothing, just
nothing.
facts. Yeah.
Nothing. Exactly. She should not have a word to say, period. Rhonda McElveen, I almost said McElevin, like I can't read. McElveen, the Barnwell County Clerk of Court who assisted Hill with the trial, testified that Hill repeatedly told her she wanted to write a book so she could buy a lake house. I'm like, I'll go down by the river in a van. This bitch wants a whole ass lake house. Okay.
They should make her pay for the damn trial that she messed up. So
Right.
she could use that book to pay for it then.
She can't write her book anymore. They pulled that bitch for plagiarism.
Good.
So that's what they were just said in the earlier in the document. So let's see. She wants to buy a lake house, so she needs to sell a book. And a guilty verdict would be the best way to sell the books. McElveen testified that after hearing Hill had given a juror a ride home, what the fuck? Uber that shit.
Yeah.
Why is it? No, the clerk of court should not be giving nobody a ride home.
Mm-mm.
All right,
Nope.
McElveen counseled, and she's over here mad because she's afraid the Murdaugh family may have pull, and Becky's over here with pull.
She's the one doing all the messy shit behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
She's the one
Crazy
doing all the
lady.
stuff.
Wow.
Making Alex Murdaugh look a little like he got a one-up all of a sudden. Jesus. Thanks a lot, Becky. When the trial court dismissed for juror 785, she said her belongings left in the juror room included a dozen eggs, which another juror had brought her. She then became known as the Egg Lady. Remember, yeah, for those of you who followed the case know about the Egg Lady, right?
Wow.
That was a whole thing. Yeah, the other juror brought the eggs from her chicken coop. And then it was a whole thing. The Egg Lady was a whole thing.
Wow.
Although
That's
the post-trial, yeah, y'all missed a lot if you did not follow this case.
I didn't.
We're gonna have to do a show, okay, and get us pre-gamed. Although the post-trial court did not allow juror 785 to testify, her affidavit is in the record for our consideration.
So were any of these jurors admonished in any way?
Mm-mm. Not that I can recall. So then it skips down now to where it left off earlier. I was just reading all that stuff in between. Okay. While Hill admitted she gave the juror a ride, she claimed the bailiff was with them. The bailiff shouldn't have been there either.
Damn.
And they did not discuss the case. The bailiff and Hill are just standing around the courtroom that day, and the juror's like, oh, I don't have a ride home. I'm going to have to call an Uber. And they're like, don't worry about it, hun. We got you.
I guess that's the way they run business there, because nothing was questioned. The bailiff should have questioned, like, why are you taking her home? Like, all these people need to be held accountable for their own faults. I mean, it's ridiculous.
They're not speaking up when they should and doing that should
The
be
right thing.
Court protocol. You should never be giving jurors ride homes.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know them personally? What did y'all discuss on the way home? I'd like to know that. The eggs.
Well, even if she knew them, then they shouldn't be a juror, because that's kind of like a conflict.
Well,
I see it that way anyway.
Well, yeah, but the prosecution and the defense, they all go through their whole thing and choose their jurors, ask them all these questions. You know, they may not have ever thought to ask. I don't think she knew them, but they got to know them. You know, she was getting to know them. She may have known some of them from the past, but that may not even come up during juror questionnaires when they're trying to seat a jury. This is all about what she did once that jury was seated. She just asserted herself, became their best friend, and was trying to influence them. She knew better than to give them a ride.
Yep.
You're the clerk. Come on, that's not protocol.
Mm-mm.
Although McElveen did not hear Hill say anything inappropriate to the jurors, she stated that Hill made comments to her, the staff, and media members strikingly similar to those jurors Z reported, such as advising them not to be fooled by Murdaugh's attorneys and to look at Murdaugh's actions and movements while he testified. Finally, McElveen testified that Hill seated a writer with court personnel. This writer wrote the foreword for Hill's book. She put the writer over with the court personnel. Becky's like, I got power and I'm going to use my power. You can come sit over here with the top dogs. What lady? So she put somebody in there that shouldn't have got a seat. Next, Murdaugh called the alternate juror to testify. She described the incident in which Hill made her comments before Murdaugh put up his case, stating that while the jurors were assembled in one of the two jury rooms or were standing in the hall, Hill stood at the doorway and told them, "They're going to say things that will try to confuse you. Don't let them confuse you or convince you or throw you off." Talking about the defense attorneys now. She shouldn't give those kind of directions either.
Yep.
The alternate, and she should have followed that up with also the prosecution has their narrative. She didn't, right? The alternate juror also testified that Hill told the jurors not to be nervous and don't be afraid to show your emotions because that's what they want to see. Who wants to see that?
Right?
The jurors are the only ones that matter. So who's looking to see that? We don't even get to see the jury.
Exactly.
The courtroom does, if you're in courtroom, obviously. But who is she thinking is looking at the juror to get their the media? The media likes it.
Becky needs to stay in her own lane. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. They're going to say things that will try to confuse you. Don't let them confuse you or convince you or throw you off. The alternate juror testified, don't be afraid to show your emotions because that's what they want to see. I don't know who. The alternate juror related she heard a court staff member say deliberations should not take long, but she could not remember who said it. Otherwise, don't get back there and deliberate too long. Just get back there and make your quick decision quickly. It's a cut and dry case. We shouldn't even have a discussion once we get back there. We already, boom, boom, boom. Guilty, 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 guilty.
Crazy.
And it's really frustrating that this type of thing got a man granted a new trial that was absolutely appeared to be guilty.
Yep.
By all the evidence presented at the trial. I watched the damn trial. In its order, the post-trial court declared the burden was on Murdaugh to show both an external influence on the jury and prejudice from that influence. It then found Hill made improper comments to the jurors on the day Murdaugh testified. This is an important day. This is an epic day, and that they should watch Murdaugh's body language. The post-trial court determined Hill's denial of making these statements was not credible, finding Hill wanted to write a book which she believed a guilty verdict would help sell. She was attracted by the siren call of celebrity, and she allowed her desire for public attention of the moment to overcome her duty to her oath of office and her oath as a witness. People in position behaving badly. Next, the post-trial court found that these comments did not affect any jurors' verdicts. It explained Juror Z's assertions that Hill's comments affected her verdict were ambivalent, self-contradictory, and not credible, emphasizing Juror Z had acknowledged her statement in her affidavit and that she voted guilty due to pressure from other jurors was the more accurate statement. The post-trial court further found that Hill's comments were limited in subject and not overt as to opinion, were only heard by at most 3 jurors, and were made in a case of overwhelming and compelling evidence, and that the trial court's extensive instructions cured any effect of these comments. The post-trial court concluded that while it found Murdaugh had failed to meet his burden to prove prejudice, any presumption of prejudice was overcome. It therefore denied Murdaugh's motion for a new trial. Murdaugh timely appealed to the Court of Appeals. This court certified the appeal of denial of the motion for new trial and subsequently consolidated it with the direct appeal. The Rimmer presumption of prejudice. Murdaugh argues he was denied his constitutional right to a fair trial by an impartial jury free from outside influences. He asserts that following Rimmer versus United States, prejudice should be presumed from Hill's comments to the jury, and that presumption is irrefutable In the alternative, he contends the state failed to rebut the presumption of prejudice. The state argues the jury convicted Murdaugh because he was obviously guilty and not because 3 jurors heard Hill's foolish and fleeting comments about his upcoming testimony. It contends that the post-trial court correctly denied to presume prejudice, and any presumption of prejudice was rebuttable. We agree with Mr. Murdaugh. Prejudice is presumed from Hill's comments, and while this presumption is rebuttal, the state failed to overcome this presumption. And then go on to cite some law there. Private communication, tampering directly or indirectly with a juror during a trial about the matter pending before the jury is, for obvious reasons, deemed presumptively prejudicial if not made in issuance of known rules of the court and instructions and directions of the court made during the trial, with full knowledge of the parties. The presumption is not conclusive, but the burden rests heavily upon the government to establish after notice to hearing of the defendant that such contact with the juror was harmless to defendant. The United States Court of Appeals and Fourth Circuit noted that in addition to the presumption of prejudice, Rimmer established a separate but related requirement: the defendant be entitled to a hearing with the defendant present and credible allegation of communications or contact between a third party and a juror concerning the matter pending before the trial. So they're going through the legalities of why they voted the way they did. The Fourth Circuit established a 3-step test for considering extrajudicial contacts with the jury. The party who is attacking the verdict bears the initial burden of introducing competent evidence that the extrajudicial communications or contacts were more than innocuous interventions. If this minimal standard is satisfied, then the Rimmer I presumption is triggered automatically. The burden then shifts to the prevailing party to prove there exists no reasonable possibility that the juror's verdict was influenced by improper communication. Just saying they felt pressured is enough, right? To say, and her giving instructions to pay attention and watch the body language and not be fooled by the defense and things of that nature. That's you can't be doing that. This is a very long document, so I'm going to skip through all of this parts here. Hang on, let me adjust. Okay. They're going through citing different case laws. We acknowledge that this court has not always employed the Rimmer presumption when considering external influences on the jury. In Kelly, an appellate asserted the trial court erred in denying his motion for mistrial when a capital case juror shared a pro-death penalty pamphlet in the jury room during the penalty phase. Lord. They're going to go through each one of these different cases. This is a death penalty appellate moved for a new trial after discovering detectives from the same police department as the victim contacted jurors' families after the jurors were death penalty qualified, but before the jury was selected. So they're going through different cases where juror infractions occurred, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word at the moment. So into the framework, we turn to the facts at hand. First, we must determine which comments Hill made to the jurors. The post-trial court referenced only a few of the comments that the jurors testified she made, e.g., this is an important day, this is an epic day, and to watch Murdaugh's body language. The state argues the post-trial court implicitly rejected the other alleged comments as not being credible. We find this argument is without merit. The post-trial court gave no indication it found other comments not credible, nor would the record support such a finding. Indeed, the post-trial court found Hill's denial of making any appropriate comments lacked credibility. The post-trial court made no distinction regarding the comments it referred in its order and the remaining comments that are in the record. The post-trial court, in fact, found credible Juror Z's affidavit statement concerning pressure from other jurors. The same affidavit included Juror Z's recollection of Hill's comments to not be fooled by the evidence presented by Murdaugh's attorneys and Hill's instructions to watch Murdaugh closely, look at his actions, and look at his movements. The state offers no rationale for finding part of the affidavit credible while rejecting portions of the damaging to the state's case. Juror Z's recollection of Hill's comments was consistent with Juror 785's affidavit testimony that Hill told jurors not to be fooled by the evidence Murdaugh's defense presented. Juror Z's recollection is also consistent with the alternate juror's testimony concerning Hill's comments. They're going to say things that will try to confuse you, and they're going over her comments again. These comments are also strikingly similar to comments Hill's made to Mac Elvine. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Mac 11. I'm just going to say it. So every time I look at it, other staff members and the media when away from the jury. Furthermore, Hill's attempt to insert herself into the jury's deliberations through these comments was in line with her stated desire for a guilty verdict to sell more copies of the book she planned to write. Her meddling in events around Juror 785's dismissal and her self-aggrandizing conduct throughout the and after the trial, from granting favors to media members, such as allowing them to view sealed exhibits and sitting a writer with the court staff in the courtroom, to granting interviews. As the post-trial court found, Hill was attracted by the siren call of celebrity and allowed her desire for public attention of the moment to overcome her duty to her oath of office. We have no reason to find Hill did not make all the statements the jurors reported. Therefore, we hold Murdaugh established Hill made comments that the day Murdaugh testified was epic or important, and urged the jurors not to be fooled or confused, thrown off, or convinced by Murdaugh to watch his body language closely. Next, we must decide whether these comments were more than innocuous interventions. And boy, they went through a whole case on that one.
So it's crazy that not even the judge was made aware of what she was, all her shenanigans that she was doing.
And they didn't, the jurors didn't report it to the bailiff, but the bailiff, what would he have done? He's over here riding around with Becky Hill. They probably have dinner together on occasion. They may go to the same damn church. What's
And the
going on?
bailiff and the officers never saw anything. They were around the jurors while she was doing all this.
Well, the bailiff was with her when she gave the one juror the ride.
Mm-hmm.
They were together. And the
That
juror
alone.
Yeah, because the juror is to report things to the bailiff. But the bailiff is in charge of that jury, moving them back and forth, to the courtroom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The bailiff handles a lot of stuff for the jury while the court's in session. Becky, you're the clerk of court. Get busy typing up some transcripts and unsealing documents and putting them out there. That's what we want clerk of courts to do.
And she wrote everything that she did in her book.
What?
She wrote all this in her book that she did this, or no?
No, she didn't admit in her book that she did all of this. No, her book was about a guilty verdict, and she lied throughout her book. And she plagiarized her. Yeah, no. She denied she did any of this, even in the hearing where she testified and got caught lying. But no, she wasn't going to put all this in her book that she did all this. It wasn't a I got caught tell-all book. It was I need him to be guilty, and she was going to write her experience about the trial, right? It was a trial book.
Her fake experience about the trial.
Yeah, I mean. So, upon an inquiry into the validity of a verdict or indictment, a juror may not testify as to any matter or statement occurring during the course of the jury's deliberations, or to the effect of anything upon that or any other juror's minds. You can't go counseling the jury. You can't. They have very specific instructions they have to follow. And the judge gives
Right,
them.
because the attorneys and the prosecutors aren't even able to do that. So what makes it
No, it's part
like?
of the they jury instructions are agreed upon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of standard instructions, but in all court cases, the judge is the one who addresses the
Right.
jury. The bailiff is the one who transports the jury and does the thing. This lady's job, I don't know what her job was, but it wasn't to meddle and do all these things.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
You go try that with somebody who might be a little more naive, ma'am. Miss Becky. What are you doing back there nosing around the courthouse?
Thinking it's not going to come to light.
They were running their courthouse kind of like they do over there in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Free roam in the back halls. Everybody is roaming around back there. The Supreme Court noted its holdings requiring an evidentiary hearing where extrinsic influence or relationships have tainted the deliberations. So yeah, she fucked found out by trying to influence the jury to vote in a way that she felt should be done. It doesn't matter what your feelings are and her ulterior motive to help guide the sale of her book, right? And she caused a whole mistrial. No, not a mistrial, but a conviction to be overturned. Not overturned, but to grant a new trial.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And
Self-serving.
Yeah,
for her own monetary gain. So
for her own gain. And she probably had it in for the Murdaugh family anyway. You know what I mean? We're talking massive amount of corruption that went on for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go and watch the Hulu special, y'all will start
hold my beer.
No, well, y'all will start to see the small town corruption and how far it went back in the Murdaugh family. This is a legendary family in the South, in the Low Country, right?
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people did know about Murdaugh. Not a lot of people did, but they were very well known in this area. Alex's grandfather, and what with the great grandfather, were they all solicitors in the fucking state there? I mean, they went deep, right?
Wow.
So there's a lot to unpack. And even going back, it all starts back with the boating accident, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I heard about the boating accident. I just don't know like the whole in between.
I can't even think about the boating accident without thinking about Anthony, and I just want to cry for Anthony all over again. He was Mallory's boyfriend, and he just wanted to find Mallory, and he wanted to beat the holy shit out of Paul Murdaugh.
Yeah. Entitled family.
Anthony just broke my heart through the whole entire thing. I like Anthony's mama a lot too. Even before the show, I've watched interviews with Anthony's parents, and I just fell in love with Anthony's mom. I saw right where Anthony, I was like, yep, that's her boy. You could tell. It's very, he's a good kid.
That's so sad.
It was very, very sad. Your heart, oh man, I can't say enough about that kiddo. All right, finally, and these boys were very, we hear about the Nepo babies, you know what I mean? The Murdaugh boys were very spoiled boys. But it really puts a personal, the Hulu thing puts a very personal stamp on Paul, who caused the boating accident. And you see a side of Paul, you understand a lot about the Murdaugh family. Let's put it that way. And what was expected of them. So it's wild to watch, and just that level of entitlement, right? That came along with being a Murdaugh. It was crazy. So Becky probably already felt some type of way. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's like, I'm gonna help you for sure, dude. We're gonna make sure you get guilty, and I'm gonna sell me a book and buy my lake house and live happily ever after, and no one will know what I did. Oh, Becky. How's that?
Delulu Becky.
Is she in a lake house yet? I wonder.
She in jail?
Is the county jail next to the lake house when she got arrested? Um, the trial court never had the opportunity to even attempt to cure the prejudicial effect of Hill's comments because they did not come to light until months after the trial. If we were to accept the proposition that standard charges could curse such prejudice, then no defendant would be entitled to relief when improper extrajudicial information reaches the jury's ears, regardless of its content or context. Our federal and state constitutions simply cannot continue such an assault on the right to a fair and impartial trial. Amen. In summation, Murdaugh met his initial burden of establishing Hill's comments. That's almost hard to read. It's like it's hard to get it to come out of my mouth. Murdaugh met his initial burden of establishing Hill's comments to the jury were more than innocuous interventions triggering the Rimmer presumption of prejudice and shifting the burden to the state. The state was simply unable to meet this heavy burden of providing that there exists no reasonable possibility. All right, so they didn't meet their evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes. This is what I wanted to check, see what they were saying about this. Because we order a new trial on the basis of Hill's improper influence on the jury on the appeal from the order denying Murdaugh's motion for a new trial, it is not necessary that we address the evidentiary issues Murdaugh raises on appeal for his convictions and sentences. We elect, however, to offer that the trial court on remand the following guidance regarding admissibility of evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes. At the time of the trial, Murdaugh had been accused of and indicted for numerous financial crimes. During his testimony before the jury, Murdaugh admitted he committed the financial crimes, although he had not, at the time, been convicted of anything. After the trial, yes, I did all that financial crimes, and just because I did that don't mean I did murder. Basically what he said. See, I can be honest with y'all, I did it, but I didn't do murder. I loved Maggie and Paul. Lord, dude, take another pill. He seemed to like his little blue pills. We elect, however, to offer the trial. Okay. After trial, he pled guilty to the financial crimes in both state and federal court. He was sentenced to a concurrent 27 years in state prison and 40 years in federal prison. The state sought to admit evidence of these financial crimes during Murdaugh's murder trial for the purpose of showing his motive for committing the murders. The state filed a pretrial motion in which it argued the evidence demonstrated Murdaugh accrued substantial debts over a period of years, and to go over these debts began engaging in illicit financial crimes involving the theft and misappropriation of money from his clients of his own firm. He was a litigation attorney, right? And he would hold, so he would take clients' wrongful suits, right? And they would recover money. So then it would all go into trust and things of that nature. Then he was taking the money.
Damn.
A lot of these attorneys get caught doing this. What's that one out of California? That big one was doing the same damn thing. They would take the money out of the accounts meant for the victims, right? And then embezzle it into their own finances. And that's what he was doing. And he ended up getting caught for all that as well. And so he got caught for all that. And even down to Gloria, the housekeeper, she fell. Okay, so he had her sue. He had her sue him, right? And she could get money from that. And then when she died on the property, I have to go back and get the notes out on this. She got money. It was meant for her children, and Alex was taking the money. That was a whole thing too. There's a lot with this guy and his financial crimes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had a bad addiction to opioids addiction. So he was spending a lot of money on his pills too. Maggie was apparently finding them hidden all over the house. The state emphasized that several series of events unfolding in the weeks and days leading up to the murders threatened to expose Murdaugh's financial crimes. The state wrote in its motion, all of these factors start to coverage the June 7th, 2021, the date of the murders. The state explained its motive theory. The murders served as Murdaugh's means to shift the focus away from himself and buy himself additional time to try to prevent his financial crimes from being uncovered. The state also stressed Murdaugh's attempt to cover his financial misdeeds after the murders to support its theory of motive. He's only had one trial for the
That's
murder,
crazy.
but he had the financial stuff. So
Right. And I mean, like, from everything that he's done, how many trials?
Oh,
How
just the
exhausting.
yeah.
Like that.
The
How do you
state
keep up with all that? It's crazy. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, well, he had a lot. He had all of his financial crimes and everything, and the different lawsuits that came about from that as well. But then he had just the murder of his wife and son as well. There's a lot to unpack with this case. So the state also stressed Murdaugh's attempts to cover the financial crimes or financial misdeeds after the murders. He filed a memorandum arguing the financial crimes evidence should be excluded under the rules. The trial court conducted a lengthy pretrial hearing but declined to rule on the admissibility of the financial crimes coming in as evidence at the time. During various breaks in the course of the trial, the state presented the testimony of 8 witnesses regarding Murdaugh's financial crimes outside the presence of the jury. After hearing the testimony and the arguments of both sides, the trial court found all evidence of financial crimes that may likely have led to a motive or lend itself to motive for the crime committed was admissible. The trial court stated the jury was entitled to consider whether the apparent desperation of Murdaugh because of his dire financial situation. So basically, they wanted to see if they let it come in, right, the evidence that the financial crimes being uncovered was motivation to kill the wife and son. This evidence of the crimes is admissible and is non-propensity, as it does not suggest to the juror that the defendant has a tendency to commit murder. I specifically find that these other crimes will not lure the jury into declaring guilt on a different ground than the specific charge. The trial court found the evidence had sufficient probative value that was not substantially outweighed by any danger or unfair prejudice. The trial court issued a written order setting forth its ruling. The state then presented testimony to the juror from the 8 witnesses who testified earlier, along with 2 additional witnesses. Through these witnesses, the state proved Murdaugh committed wide-ranging financial crimes over numerous years in several general categories, including the following. Murdaugh stole money from his clients by billing personal expenses to them under the guise of those expenses being costs associated with their case. Murdaugh stole money from his law firm by instructing law firm employees to make checks payable to the Palmetto State Bank, whose then chief executive officer, Russell Lafitte, enabled Murdaugh to convert the funds for his personal use. You'll learn about that in the Hulu special also. Murdaugh stole money from his clients and his law firm by instructing law firm employees to make checks payable to Forge, a fake account Murdaugh created to imitate the legitimate Forge Consulting LLC firm that Murdaugh then deposited and used for personal expenses. And apparently Maggie had no idea he had been doing all of this, right? They were like extremely wealthy in her eyes. They should have been. Murdaugh then deposited and used for personal expenses. And Murdaugh stole money from the Tony Satterford Satterford was Gloria was the housekeeper. by filing an insurance claim in relation to his mother, Gloria Satterfield's death, and collecting the insurance proceeds for personal use instead of providing the proceeds to Tony and Gloria's other son. Like I said, Gloria had 2 sons, and after that insurance claim, they didn't get the money.
Damn.
And I'm going to tell you what, these housekeepers, Miss Gloria will steal your heart too. I don't want it to come out wrong. She raised Paul. Okay. Maggie was his mama, but Gloria raised Paul. Gloria was very close to Paul. She was more than just their housekeeper. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In that sense. She was part of their family, basically. And he really treated her sons like shit once she died.
Damn.
She died
Yeah,
on his
so Kelly wrote that in chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn. What a horrible person.
He's a whole shitty ass person. And you'll see that in the movie with the way, and you look at Maggie, I keep saying Maggie, in the way that a lot of women act with these types of men. I just, especially these old school, wealthy Southern type women. And I'm sure it goes on in other parts of the country as well, the same type of way. It's just different with each, like a Western woman compared to a Southern woman, that kind of thing. But it's all the same though. I'm finding out there's women out there who allow their extremely multimillionaire men to put them up in a luxury mansion, and I get to see you a couple of weeks of the year, and your other women get you the rest of the time. I'm like, what? That's a thing?
Ain't no way.
I don't know. I might could get on board with something like that. Don't that other girl want to see you today? I'm good over here. I'm
right. Did you have to visit somebody for a long time?
Stay where you're at. Go see one of your other girls. But yeah, that's apparently a thing. Women are just settling. They settling everywhere. I might settle into your mansion if you just promise to go away and never come back.
And you stay rich forever because once
I don't
you
know.
do something stupid.
My anxiety wouldn't let me live in a house that big. I got to have smaller spaces. Like, I just do.
My trust issues wouldn't let me.
Right. There's somebody in the next room. I heard a noise.
No, just like is this gonna last forever? Is it gonna be, how is he
him
rich?
putting up the money in the mansion? Oh, I wouldn't care. I don't want him. I'll just take the money in the mansion. And when you
that's what I mean. If he ends up being a shit bag like this guy, you're gonna lose it all, and then you're gonna end up on the street.
Sign an agreement, Butterfly. Sign an agreement. You want me to be okay with you and your 10 girlfriends? Okay, well, sign this, buddy. Because the minute it's over, I get to keep this house you put me in, okay? Okay, good. You signed it? We're good then. Get that shit in writing.
Pay for the house first, and you can go do whatever the hell you want. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't exist anymore.
The state has also presented evidence to the jury that Murdaugh's years of stealing money in these ways was about to be exposed. For example, law firm employees testified that they asked Murdaugh on at least 2 occasions in the weeks leading up to the murders about discrepancies in his financial disbursement documents in individual cases. Jeannie Seckinger, the firm's chief financial officer, testified that she confronted Murdaugh on the morning of the murders, stating, "I have reason to believe that you received attorney fees in a certain case directly to you, and you need to prove to me that you did not." Other evidence indicated Seckinger was referring to a $792,000 in missing attorney fees the firm was supposed to receive from Murdaugh's co-counsel, Chris Wilson. The state also presented evidence that Mark Tinsley, the attorney representing the family of the young woman who died in the boat wreck, that's the Beach family's attorney, had scheduled a motion hearing for 3 days after the murders in which Tinsley sought to compel Murdaugh to disclose his detailed financial records. Tinsley was like a bulldog, man. He's like, "I don't care who you are, Alex Murdaugh. I'm coming. I'm coming for you, sir." Murdaugh challenges the admissibility of evidence of his financial crimes under Rules 401, 402, 403, and 404B. Oops. As to Murdaugh's relevance objection, the state argues that because Murdaugh was charged with murdering his wife and son, seemingly inexplicable conduct when standing alone, it is important that it offer evidence to explain why he did it. The state also urges Murdaugh himself place the issue of motive front and center through his own actions by suggesting officers who arrived at Moselle on June 7th that the killer's motive stemmed from the boat wreck, which he did. He's like, oh, well, we're going through this thing about the boat wreck and people have been threatening my son. Probably because the messy way you handled your son's cover up of the boat wreck, it about drove your son insane in the process. We agree with the state that the evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes made the state's theory of motive more probable. Thus, we find the trial court acted within its discretion in finding the financial crimes evidence was relevant under 4041 and 4042. The more difficult question is he didn't think he should be allowed to bring in my financial crimes. The more difficult question is whether the trial court should have excluded all or some of the financial crimes evidence pursuant to Rule 404B and 403. We address the question as two distinct categories of issue. The first of these categories, whether the trial court should have excluded all the financial crimes of evidence, is a point on which not all members of the court would have ruled the same way had we been the trial court. Oh, okay. We each agree, however, this was a decision within the discretion of the trial court under the facts of circumstances that existed in Murdaugh's murder trial. As to the second category, we will address whether the trial court should have restricted the extent of which the state was allowed to present this evidence. That is, whether the trial court should have excluded some of the evidence. We unanimously hold the trial court allowed the state to go far too long and far too deep into aspects of Murdaugh's financial crimes that were not probative of the state's theory of motive, which gave rise to considerable danger of unfair prejudice and therefore should have been excluded. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Oh, not all of it could have come in. Oh. As to whether the trial court should have excluded all evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes under the rules of 403 and 404B, we have discussed the principles applicable when a trial court is asked to exclude evidence of other crimes in numerous cases, and no further elaboration of those principles is necessary here. As to 404B, the difficulty lies in the application of these principles to the facts and circumstances of any individual case. Here, the trial court correctly understood the applicable principles of law and thoughtfully applied those principles to the facts and circumstances before it. The trial court explained its view of the logical connection between the financial crimes and Murdaugh's motive. The state argument that it presented a valid theory of motive and Murdaugh's response that fabricated motive theory is illogical, implausible, and not supported by the evidence, and was not dispute for the trial court to resolve by making this evidentiary ruling that was for the jury. They go down and address the 4043 of it all. The trial court balanced the probative value of the evidence against its potential unfair bias. Let's get down to there. There we go. We emphasize, however, the trial court should have limited the state's presentation of this evidence. We illustrate this point with an example from the direct examination of Tony Satterfield. The state says, why were you the personal representative and not your brother? Satterfield says, because my brother is a vulnerable adult and he has a disability, which is true. The court says, can you repeat those words for me? Oh, Satterfield says that my brother, he's a vulnerable adult and he's not able to function as a normal human being to deal with stuff like that. The state replies, he's a vulnerable adult, and Satterfield replied, yes. I see the problem there. Hate to say it, but I see the problem there. This particular testimony had zero probative value as to Murdaugh's motive for the murders, and obviously high potential for unfair prejudice as it portrays Murdaugh as a man who preys on vulnerable victims. Damn it, man. Damn it, man. Damn it, man. Get those dramatic attorneys in courtrooms, and that tends to happen sometimes. I'd have been like, objection. Much of the additional details the state presented as to Murdaugh's financial crimes had little or no probative. You really do need to only bring in the stuff that has the probative value as to the motive, right? I can certainly see that. The state's theory of the motive centers on the point that his financial crimes were about to be exposed and he needed time. The fact that he committed some of those crimes against a vulnerable adult adds nothing to the theory. To the extent that yeah, because one of them was and one of them wasn't. I mean, if it was just the handicapped brother, you could add a different type of charge, for abusing the handicapped or whatever law that is. To the extent many similar, but to hone that in during trial, that pulls at the jury's heartstrings. You know what I mean? That's what that was done for. That's exactly what it was done for. To the extent many similar details may have had minimal probative value, the value is substantially outweighed by the unfairly prejudicial sympathy the jury was likely to feel toward the victim. By our calculation, the state spent a total of 12 and a half hours of actual testimony before the jury over 10 days of trial to introduce evidence related to Murdaugh's financial crimes. We are convinced the state could have effectively presented evidence to support its motive theory in a fraction of that time. By holding the trial court in this case acted within a discretion in admitting some evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes, we certainly do not intend to require the evidence be admitted on retrial. As is often the case, the facts and circumstances on retrial may be materially different from those presented in the initial trial. Thus, the court on remand must do as the trial court did here, carefully and thoughtfully apply correction principles of law to the facts and circumstances before it. We do intend to require, however, that if the trial court decides to admit evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes on retrial, the state must complete its introduction of that evidence efficiently, without lengthy presentation of inflammatory details, with little no probative value that was permitted in the first trial. So they're going to leave that decision to the lower court when they go back for retrial on whether or not to admit that evidence or not. Okay. Conclusion: as the Fourth Circuit Court declared, the Rimmer presumption is alive and well. It serves to protect the right to a fair trial and impartial jury of all defendants. So they've granted the new trial, but they're going to leave the decision under the jury stuff, but they're going to leave the decision to allow the financial crimes evidence to come in by the lower court. But they have instructed the next prosecution not to be so long-winded with their fluff. 12 and a half hours. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was a long trial. I don't remember it quite being all that much. Sorry, Chad. I don't feel like I've been ignoring y'all while I was reading. Let's see. Wow, Rachel, right. It's a very complicated fam. Very complicated.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll be watching that.
like Kelly was saying that Alex decided to, well, so he hires was it cousin Eddie, Kelly? Turns out it was his cousin Eddie. Eddie was the guy he also could get his pills from or whatever. But Eddie shot him on the side of the road. But he did a bad job. Let's put it that way. Alex was changing the tire, got shot in the head. A bullet grazed him in the head. So when he calls 911, he tells them that he was stopping to change his tire. Somebody rode by, shot at him for no reason, and went on.
Wow.
And it prompted it prompted stuff.
Yeah.
So he did that with cousin Eddie, and the reasoning is thinking maybe if he like offed himself,
Mm-hmm.
there would be a big insurance. Buster would get a lot. Buster would inherit all the stuff, right? Um, and Buster's the only one left. Buster's his other son. And then there's been a lot of rumors, allegations, rumors. Was Buster involved with Stephen Smith? Was he involved in Stephen Smith's death? I don't think they're ever going to get there with that one. Honestly, people have looked hard and heavy. I have looked at everything. I can't get there. We don't have enough evidence to prove anything that they even knew. I haven't seen anything they even knew each other, right? We're talking about
Mhm.
Buster and Stephen. Although it appears they did know of each other and know who they didn't run the same circles though. If they did, it was behind the scenes.
Way behind.
Way behind those scenes, like the curtains blacked out kind of scenes, right?
Dang.
So nobody can see what's happening here. It's wild that these trials can be granted. I don't know how long it will take for these trials to come back up on the dockets, right? Even with Letitia.
Right.
In Letitia's case and in this case, and we're still waiting on a decision on Rick Allen's appeal for a new trial.
Mhm. How long do you think that will take?
I don't know. We'll get a decision back on Rick's between June and July.
Okay.
Now they have petitioned for oral arguments, but the court doesn't have to grant them oral arguments to render an opinion. So
Mhm.
we don't know yet if they're going to bring them on
I see.
to do oral arguments or just render an opinion without hearing oral arguments. They could go either way. So we are still waiting on more news. I'm checking for any updates on I gave y'all the update yesterday on David going to court and that he'll be back in court later on. What did I say?
June 17th, I think, is the next.
Status conference for June 17th and the prelim hearing due to start over on June 29th. They'll get all that going. I don't know what's going on. And then what you call it, Reiner situation, if that's gotten anywhere yet. There's some things I'm looking at that I do want to, in other cases, but I do want to get into that Turvey interview, but we're going to do that tomorrow for sure. I was going to do that today, and then the news was popping off this morning about Alex's new trial, and I grabbed the document. I wanted to go ahead and get that one done because I still need to finish there's a couple of things I want to get together to go with my review of that interview. And because things are getting weird in Idaho. And like I said, we know that lawsuit was already happening with the little media company against Moscow. The lawsuit between the family and the WSU of it all. We have letters coming back and forth. And in fact, let me pull up what's this last communication that came in that we're going to get to. Okay. What was that last one that came down? Let me see. Okay, so the FBI sent that letter down to Moscow about, we loaned you those documents and we want them back. So the city attorney has replied to that letter. And she says, I'm an adult citizen of the United States and competent to testify to these matters. I am employed as a city attorney for the city of Moscow, Idaho. On May 4, 2026, I received a letter from the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Salt Lake City field office, authored by Victoria Marie Vaughn, Associate Division Counsel, directed me in my capacity as its attorney for the city of Moscow. A true and correct copy of the letter is attached. The letter advises that records generated by the FBI were provided to Moscow Police Department for purposes of assisting in the investigation and prosecution of State of Idaho versus Brian Kohberger, and such records are the property of the FBI loaned to the Moscow Police Department and are not to be distributed outside their respective agencies. Now, it goes on to say, since the arrest of Kohberger, the city has received in excess of 1,500 public records requests seeking information related to Kohberger investigation and prosecution. Processing these requests has placed an extraordinary burden on city staff and resources. I declare under penalty of perjury to the laws. Now, so she's asking for an extension of time to basically, but what my question is, if these documents, investigative documents owned by the FBI were on loan, how come they weren't retrieved when the plea deal was signed? Why were they
I've never heard of documents being loaned. Have you?
Not like this, no. No.
Strange.
No. And it doesn't make any sense. And if it's, you would think that they have a protocol in place. We know the FBI doesn't want to give us a damn thing, but they have got to give you that. That evidence would have come into court. We would have all seen it. Right? So what are we doing here? And why, if it's protocol that it's owned by the FBI and we want it back after trial or resolution, and however they want to word it, if we want it back, how come that's not standard in every case?
Right.
That you need to send your case file back to the FBI immediately upon resolution of the case. Is that just special to Kohberger?
It's just weird because
it is.
Anything that they've shared, you'd think that they would have the original of everything. So why the need?
They don't want Moscow to share it. They have copies. It's not like they want it back because they need their file back to reference later. It's not that. They don't want it shared under the public FOIA request. But come on, the dude took a fucking plea deal a year ago. FOIA requests been popping off for years. Then when y'all lifted the gag order, they went into full force. Something's not making sense. Something is not making sense. And why do you not want people to see?
Right.
All we're going to see anyway is cast IgG information. Is that what all of that information? Because literally, there's no evidence against Brian Kohberger except for DNA on a sheath, car video footage, phone data. There is not an overwhelming treasure trove of evidence against Brian Kohberger. We can get that little idea out of our brains. So I don't know what evidence they're talking about that it would have all come into trial. What do they not want the public to get a copy of?
Right.
Is it to do with the IgG stuff? Because that's all in the documents. That's what I'm saying. There's something strange happening that I have not seen in other cases before. And it doesn't make sense that they come back and do this now.
Right. No, I agree.
There's no new documents in the case file where they, said they were going to be unredacting all of the files, 45 documents per increment. They've done 2 sets, and they took back the second set because they didn't do it right. And then it's been radio silent crickets since then. We've had lawsuits from the family, stop putting the photos out there, the crime scene photos, stop all, injunctions against the city. It got out of hand with this case. And I don't know why the powers that be didn't take control of the reins a long time ago. This stuff is going to have to come out in court documents. It's the law of the land. It is transparency. We know that it will not stay sealed forever. It's going to become unredacted. We prepare. There's just something weird going on here, and I don't know what to make of it yet.
Right.
And I just don't know if I should be like, I don't feel like giving them time anymore. I feel like I've been very fair to their process, and I feel like something is starting to feel weird, and I don't like it when things start to feel weird. Because then I'm forced to say things I don't like to say, like getting it to come out of my mouth, in support of something I don't want to be in support of, I guess is the way I should say that.
No,
It's
I
like,
get it.
it was like watching that Turvey interview, and I wish I had the timestamp on that, but I don't have it ready yet. When they asked very specific, important questions, the type of sinister laughter that came out of that man's mouth, it's like, what? It's just off-putting to me. So
Yeah.
get all that
I
together.
haven't watched it. So
Well,
I'll watch it when you show it.
Yeah, I've got my notes right here. I just got to go back and add my timestamps to these certain, like I damn near wrote a book, I'm not going to lie. And I got 2 other things to review to go with this. I'm going to be doing that here in just a few minutes. But I got to get my timestamps to go along with this. And I also got to pull up certain information to kind of not refute what they're talking about, but to show you what they're talking about. You know what I mean? If I can pull up the document or photo to go with it, it helps us understand more about what they are trying to imply versus what they are implying. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you every single thing Turvey said was wrong either. I can't do that. I will get mad at myself going, oh God, you're being way too fair. You're going to the other side a little bit. Come back here. But that you need that. I need that in my life. That's just who I am. I saw things that made me go, that's why Bill Thompson was willing to take a plea deal. Not, oh my God, Kohberger's not the guy.
Right.
No, but that's
Right.
why we might have decided it's okay to take a plea deal, because that shit might have bit me in the butt at trial, right? That kind of thing. Which could have led to an appeal after a conviction. But the way we ended up settling it, we got our confession and no appeal. Nice little bow packaged all up here. But how come we can't get any information now?
Right.
Why does my son feel the need to message me to tell me the guy came to cut the grass?
A little late.
He came, cut all the grass. Hey, baby, yay. I love that boy.
I had no idea.
All right, back. Okay.
He's done.
In case you hear something out, my babies know me. Mama will be heard something. She'll have Fort Knox and going, and she won't open the door. They know me. I
Right.
will not open the. I don't know you. Do
I'm
not.
the same way.
I'm
Yeah.
not opening that door. Ain't nobody home here.
I don't care if the dogs are barking. I won't
I don't
open
give a
it.
shit. My dogs can be barking, my cat can be meowing, and guess what? Me peeking out the blind where you
Exactly.
can't see. Trust me, I've been outside of my house. I know which windows you can see me through.
I peek out the Ring camera to see who's at the door.
You ever walk around your house at different times of the day or night and see what it looks like through your windows?
Uh-huh.
I have.
Yeah, I've done that.
Let me see what everybody else can see through my window. I might not like what they can see after all.
Yeah.
Think about that kind of thing. Have you ever ridden by someone's house and go like, damn, I can see right through y'all's house?
From the street.
From the street. I don't need to see your toilet, man.
I mean, I love the sunshine and stuff, but Those are going closed at nighttime. Nobody looking
Oh
inside.
yeah, my blinds are open in the daytime. My son liked to live in a dungeon, not me. I'm like all about the sunshine and the light.
Yeah.
Shine the light. But no, but mm-mm. I don't open that door if I don't know them. He's just warning Mama, no, don't, Mom, it's okay. Put down the weapon. it's it's just a lawnmower.
Right.
uh, maybe protecting the cast report. Well, the cast report was coming into play. It's always coming into court. That's the biggest thing the FBI can give them is that big old cast report. It was coming into the trial, and according to Chris Whitcomb, he has a copy of the cast report from Brian Koberger's phone, the data dump he calls it. We know Celebrate couple has the cast report, and they've already turned it over to Olivia, and I'm not mad about that. Gonzalez is not technically it's still sealed, but technically it's not, right? It's an unsealed document, but the court's yet to bring it to us. But it wasn't to do with Cass. So I don't understand why they're doing this now, right? And what does it even mean? Is it like, oh, one day someone woke up and oh, by the way, we never got those documents back from Moscow. Y'all might want to check on that today. Oh yeah, there's been a lot happening down there, man. We better get our shit back.
That's probably how it went.
Right? Did they make a habit of that? Like Cy Ray said that time, they gave me documents and then called later and said, oh wait, oops. Give that back.
It's the government. They run slow. So who knows? It could be.
That's scary if the FBI is passing out documents and then they're like later on they're like, oh yeah, we do need those back in due time.
Right.
They could be out there to the masses in between the time they get them back. Hurry, make copies.
Well, you would think that that would be something that they would put out before they sent them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be part of protocol.
Right. Exactly.
You return these documents at resolution, whether we get to trial and reach a verdict or we get to a plea deal. That should be a standard procedural event. We got to send you a letter to tell you.
Unless they noticed something after they sent them that made them want them back. Is the only thing I can think of.
That they did what?
That they noticed something after the fact that they sent them. Like that initially they didn't ask for them back, but then upon review or upon somebody finding out something.
Here's the thing though, they didn't send them anything. All that Moscow has was part of the entire working investigation in the beginning, the cast, all the stuff that FBI did, the IGG work that they had to turn over to the judge to go in chambers. It's that stuff. There's nothing that FBI knew all along what they did to catch Koberger. They knew they didn't discover anything new in their documents that prompted them to go say, hey, Moscow, we want that shit back. No, I don't see that happening. There's something different happening, and I don't know what it is. I need Kash Patel to come down here and talk about this partnership. I just heard another blurb again the other day from some executives talking about this partnership that everybody's like, it's getting whispered about and looked over. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait. There's a bigger, they know geofence warrants are about to go away. So we need to find ways to make these private sectors now work with us without us because we're not going to be able to get these geofence warrants soon. So there's something different happening. And I don't know what it is yet. I don't know what to make of it because there's nothing in these documents that the FBI just realized was in there that they don't want the world to see. It's not that. There's nothing. I don't know what prompted it now.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. And part of it might be because when the order came down last from the judge, when they put out the last batch of unredacted information and they pulled them back, they were complaining about FBI agents not being redacted in these documents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like Imel's name and all of that. Not redacting all their names, not redacting a lot of the information. I think they don't want, there is certain information in those documents they don't want us to see,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they may also be afraid they may not redact enough of our information. It's investigative type stuff that may come out they don't want to come out.
Right.
Tools and tricks that they use. There's things the
Mhm.
FBI does they do not want us to know about.
Right.
Simple as that. Brian
Mhm.
Koberger's case was the first active investigation where IgG was used. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Nancy Guthrie case is the next active investigation where IgG was used. Normally, IgG was used for cold cases.
Right.
And in fact, when I was watching the Turvey episode, there's still a big
Well,
misconception.
wasn't it the Golden State, the first one?
They caught him with
The first one?
IgG, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how they ended up catching him. This but
Mhm.
they've been it's not new. It's been used forever, but it's
Right.
just a tool. The FBI the biggest issue about the FBI using IgG, and it came out during the Koberger stuff, was the fact they used the damn back door. I cannot
Mhm.
sugarcoat it enough. That's where I'm going with this. The confusion about what Othram's role was in that case. They didn't
Right.
develop the profile from the sheath. The state lab did. They sent it to Othram to start investigative genetic genealogy. Lands back on the cousins, the brothers, they're cousins of Koberger's.
Mhm.
Then they couldn't get anywhere else because they were looking at legal databases, the 3 legal databases. FBI steps in and says, well, we can do more because we can go in other ways. And they did just
Mhm.
that. That's a problem. That's where that weirdness comes in there. But people who are reviewing the case now are not understanding why it even went to Othram and what Othram even did and how they couldn't say that it was Othram landed on brothers. They couldn't even say that was his Koberger's DNA. They weren't it's like, did y'all not understand the role of Othram and what was actually
Mhm.
happening at that lab? And then why it went to FBI. But it's just something is weird about it because I don't know if it's because they're afraid unredacted information will get out there or if methods they've used in their investigation will get out there.
Right.
But it's
Right.
not about anything new that they are like, huh. I would really be surprised. Yeah, well, we finished reading that document, Kelly, on the Murdaugh situation. We're going to have to wait now and see when they decide to get it back before the court, and if the court will end up allowing them to bring in the financial crimes as motive for the murder. Because they're going to have to go through the whole murder trial over again, seat a whole new jury, right? Seat a whole new jury that has to hear the evidence of why and how he would have murdered his wife and son. And motive is the financial crimes. So it'd be curious to see if they allow that. I think that they allowed it in the first time, and the Supreme Court agrees that it should come in to an extent. It will be allowed to come in again. It's just they're not going to be able to do all that extra, where they're
Mhm.
talking about the glorious children to that nature, other than the crimes themselves should be enough. So I think they will
Right.
be able to admit it. And I don't know if the same prosecutor will take the case again.
Oh, yeah. Or you think he'll have the same defense attorneys or court appointed?
I think, oh no, I think Poot's in for the long haul.
Mm.
I think I don't know. This is all. I
Oh.
haven't really been paying attention to the details. I mean, I knew this was coming, right? I have been following the headlines on it. So I knew
Mhm.
this was coming and it was a probability and it was probably going to happen because of Becky. But I
Yeah.
got to dive in a little more and figure out what we're doing with attorneys now. What's the next move? if they're going to try to get a change of venue, are we going to hear this trial in the same location? You know what I mean? There's a lot to look at still.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to keep our eye on it and keep updates as it plays out. We will certainly do that because I'm super interested to see how it plays out. And Rachel lives in the country with cameras. Oh, no, look, in the daytime, I got my door. I like having stuff open and seeing the outside world, but you're not going to see me.
Yeah,
will
I
walk
wouldn't have my
around my
door open
house.
where I live.
I will look in my windows and see what the view looks like. If I need to go in there and move something or fix something, I'm doing it. Your weird ass peeking at me, you know. But I'm in the country too. But I don't want people looking inside my windows. People will. They'll walk around just riding by, looking at your house. I don't know how people do it, being so exposed feeling. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on how this progresses. And I don't know where it stands with Letitia's case either. We'll have to watch for the updates and see how they play out, and keep an eye on our upcoming hearings as well. All right, guys. So I'll be back tomorrow morning. Probably, I know it will be between 10 and 11 Central Time. I don't like going past 11 because it feels like time just gets away with us once we get to go. And I like to kind of go early, but I know for some of my mods, it's super early, and I'm just
Well, I'm up early in the morning and then I'll fall back to sleep, which is why I woke up so late. So
yeah.
throws
Once
off my
I'm
day.
awake, I have a hard time falling back asleep. Sometimes I can. Depends on how early. Like if it's 4 a.m., I might be like, "Girl, go back to sleep." Sometimes
Yeah.
I can, but sometimes it's like once I'm awake, I'm done. But
Yeah.
I want to get into the Turvey interview and get some of that done because I still have a couple of other things I want to present this week as well. And we're already midweek. I feel like my son says, "Did you even notice he was there?"
Yeah, my window was open.
Yes, laugh out loud. Jesus Christ. Lord
Is
help
that
me.
even a question?
I know. I should have said no. Is he done already? Damn. I should have played. I will mess with my kids. They never know about taking me seriously or not. I really could have messed with that one.
Yeah.
I should
So
have
you
done
really
that.
don't know your mother.
Yeah. Shit. Is that what that noise was? I thought I heard something.
You need
I'm
to
gonna
make a sticker out of your avatar and put it on a cup or something.
Yeah, I can make some merch. Get a black coffee cup with this on there.
The son, do you see this?
One day. One day.
Self-explanatory.
Oh, my son knows. He'll be like, "What are you looking at? What are you doing now?" They know I'm a very suspicious person. I ask a
Yeah,
lot of
same.
questions. He rolls his eyes at me. I could tell, like he's done with me. He's done. He's tired of hearing me. I'll go, "All right, I'm going outside now, son. I'll leave you alone." And I'll go sit
Give you
out
a break.
back. Yeah. He'll be like, "Lord, here she goes again." My kids know me. All right. Yeah. Y'all have a great afternoon. Thanks for coming up and hanging out and joining me for a while here.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. Glad it fixed itself.
Yeah. Whatever the little problem was, I can't believe that it actually was pushing the show out and saying that I wasn't internet connected earlier.
Maybe it was just me the whole time. I don't know because I couldn't really ask anyone else. So I went out and went to another stream. It was buffering, but then when I told you I was gonna like turn my phone off because I was on my phone, turn my phone off and back on. I did that. You were still buffering, and I tried another live stream, and it was fine. So I don't know. Could have been both of us.
Yeah. I don't know. Sarah was in here early with us and she said didn't buffer on her end. And I
Yeah.
never saw a signal on my end that was buffering. So I'm glad it all worked out.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, and thanks for coming up. And yeah, guys, we'll keep an eye on the cases we're following. If anything breaks, throughout the evening, we'll get on it. Eventually is what we'll get right back at it. Until then, y'all stay safe on them YouTube streets. Y'all go have a good evening, and we will see you. Let's see. Let me get all this squared away first. Yeah. We'll see you back here in the morning. You guys have a
Alright,
good
have
one.
a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Let's see.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe.